Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people, and people is misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E. Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
Because he's the guy.
Alrighty, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm sorry, I'm clashing with my background, but I can't get my colors to change. Apparently, they're stuck on purple. They're stuck on purple, so I don't know what to do about that. Good morning. It is wonderful to be with all of you. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Where's my chat? There we go. Make it bigger. All right. Here we go. Hang on. Little RA. All right. We're a little bit late because we had to run to the post office this morning, and we had a situation at the post office. But give me a second. We're gonna get ready to go. We've got some fun things to go over today. Lots of fun news. All right. Boom. There I am. I'm quite orange. If this hurts your eyes, you don't have grounds for a class action lawsuit. Let me just say, your attendance here is waiving your right to file a class action lawsuit for damage to your eyes. Why is that in the bottom corner of the screen? Why do I have like a little? Why have I been censored right here? Does anybody know? Okay, let's see. Do I have a downstream keyer turned on? No. Upstream keyer, no. Super source. What in the world is that box? Okay, let's try all off. Boom. Oh, there we go. All on. Boom. It's gone. Fixed it, guys. Thank you. I didn't even need to reach out and ask for help from the lovely and very talented Krista. Krista was first in chat, and she said,
"When are we going to break for lunch?"
She said, "Vv," or "v, first in chat, which clearly means that she wants to win the internet. And Krista, who are we to stop you? First in chat, congratulations, you win the internet once again. You know how to handle it. I can tell because you have the electricity symbols by your name. Isn't that what they are? Electricity symbols? Well, Krista, we're going to talk about those symbols today. So I'm not sure why you were not mentioned in the motion, but we're going to go over the motion. I think you should have been included in there because you've been using those symbols since way long ago as well. All right, couple things. Let me tell before I lose it here. Hippo Lover gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Hippo Lover. Appreciate you being here as well. Let's see, we have Nancy Robbins. Welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much as well. Welcome to the crew. Jolay as well. Welcome. And look at that. Is that a Cocker Spaniel? What a cutie. What a good pup. Let's see. I have to tell you, it was difficult to go to sleep last night.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
Soon. And I still am struggling with the verdict we got yesterday. And I tried to view this from different vantage points because I know that probably about a third to half of you are 100% behind the verdict, and that's okay. That's okay. And I wondered, is this? I got the buffer sound, guys. Do you know why I got the buffer sound?
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day! Welcome to Wednesday. I forgot that part. We made it halfway through the work week. My daughter has a terrified look on her face as she's covering her ears. I'm sorry. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm sorry. OG Sean White, 3 months. Glad to be here. Thank you so much. I've got so many things to talk about. So many things I need to say this morning that I'm messing everything up. I did forget hump day. Was that what the buffer was about? Let me scroll back and see. Please catch the birthday wishes. No, it wasn't. It was birthday wishes. Let's see where the birthday wishes are. Scrolling. There we go. Okay, got a lot here. Got a lot. All right, we're gonna get to the birthdays in just a minute. Let me finish the post office story. Let my voice recover from everything, and tell you about. I have to tell post office first. Reverend Beasy, yes, I opened it. We're gonna talk just for a minute about this, but I have to back up a little bit because Reverend Beasy sent me a package and said, "Hey, I'm really excited. I've got something for you. You're gonna. It's funny. I'm excited to see your reaction." And then she says, "Go check the post office. It's arrived." And we ran to the post office and it wasn't there. I'm like, man. And so we waited a day and we ran back to the post office and it still wasn't there. And the box was empty. Like normally they put a little slip in there saying, "Hey, you've got a package. Come pick it up." And no. And so this morning I went because Mrs. R.A. went yesterday. And I went and opened the box and I'm like, there's still nothing. Okay, and I know my key still works. They haven't changed the locks on me. I'm in the right box. The address is the same. And so I go in the post office, and I'm wearing this hoodie, right? This is my Prison Break escape hoodie. And I walk in, and John, our town postmaster, says, "Hey, I think I've got a package for you." I'm like, "Oh, good." And he goes back there, and he comes back, and he's like, "What number was it?" And I told him 775. And he goes back, and he's like, "Nope." I'm like, hang on. Okay, something's not right here. And so, Reverend Beasy, I took out your message. I said, "John, here's the problem. I've got something that was sent to me, and I've got the tracking number, and it shows it's arrived here, and it's waiting for me to pick it up. And so I'm just curious if you could be so kind as just double check again." And he's like, "Give me that tracking number." And I read it off to him and pulled it up. He's like, "Give me a second." And he goes back in the back room, and he comes back with 3 packages. Not 1, not 2, but 3 packages, okay? One of them was not even to me. It was addressed to Mrs. R.A. I don't know how she gets to just use my P.O. box for her stuff, but she's doing it. So we'll have words with her about that later. So I got 2 packages, and I opened, well, I would say I opened them, but my kids open all the packages I get, sometimes before I'm ready for them to open them. I got 1 package with a wonderful card and a gift from Dusty Den and Eileen S. with a beautiful card here that says, "I wonder if snowman farts smell like peppermint. Enjoy the wonder and mystery of the holiday season." So you're never going to know, apparently. It's almost like a good dad joke. And inside was a Christmas present wrapped in Christmas paper. How do I know? Because my son demolished it in seconds and tore open. I think it was supposed to be waited. I was supposed to wait till Christmas to open that one. And inside was a, well, my daughter might walk behind me here with the gift. Is that what we're going to do? You hold it up so you're hidden. Okay, stop right there. It says Pickles Squad. I'm kind of a big deal. It's a cool thing. Okay, we got it. Thank you. I didn't show the whole thing, but she didn't want to be on camera, so she's helping out. You want to go forward and do it? Okay, you can do it. You can look on the screen and see yourself. There you go. There it is. It's a big. It's a throw. It says, "I'm kind of a big deal." Pickle Squad. You have me in a pickle. Pickles make me happy. Got pickles. All that. It's wonderful. So thank you. Thank you for your help, little Laurie. You're a regular Vanna White. You know that? Your arms are tired now. She's been holding it up for like 5 minutes. Okay, I got that. Thank you very much. That is cool. My kids were so excited to have that. And I got another package from Reverend Beasy. Now, Reverend Beasy, if you guys don't know, she sent me this little emotional support zebra, which is a little stuffed animal. It comes with a leash. So you can put it where you need it, so it will stay where you need it when you need a little bit more emotional support. And she sent me this zebra, and I love it, but I have noticed that it is quite thirsty. And inside the package I got today was like another package with a letter, and inside that was 2 little packages, and you had to like unwrap and unwrap layer. It was like a Russian doll. But inside, all the way under all of those is a matched set of my mugs. They are tiny. They're smaller than a thimble, maybe a pencil eraser size of mug. And the detail on here Objection overruled grounds. True crime addict. The colors inside, the matched handle. They're perfect replicas of my regular mugs that we sell. But this is zebra size. So it's so cool. Now the zebra can have a drink and not look thirsty anymore. Reverend Beasy, thank you very much. But not only that, Reverend Beasy had a message she asked me to read on there for everybody. There's one for me and there's one for you, and I'm going to read the one for you. It says, "Chat, I want you to know that I can't possibly express my gratitude for your kindness to me every day. I owe each and every one of you who interacts with me on a daily basis my life. I've been in autistic burnout since 2020, and thanks to all of you, I'm slowly starting to come back out of it, and I could not be more grateful. And Scott, thank you for providing a place to do it, and for being the kind of man who has the integrity which inspires such kindness and compassion in others. Sincerely, Reverend Beasy." Reverend Beasy, thank you so much. My emotional support zebra thanks you as well. That is an amazing, thoughtful, creative gift. I appreciate it. And as well, thank you for the my whole family just like showed up in the studio. I looked over and they're all right here. Thank you. And also, Reverend Beasy also sent a instructional photo to show how the cups should be used appropriately. It's tiny. I'm struggling to make it. It's a picture showing two emotional support zebras at a little tea table with the mugs, drinking appropriately out of them. So now I know how to use the mugs, and it's great. Hang on, Mrs. R.A. is walking into the frame. She's holding a little plaque that I cannot read because it's all black. Hang on. It says timeout proof chats. And now flip it. Mrs. R.A.'s closer in the dryer. It says Mrs. R.A.'s closer in the dryer. Let me figure out how I can show this. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Mrs. R.A.'s closer in the dryer. This, and the other side says timeout proof chat. What does this mean? I can hang it on the door and you're not allowed to time out chat? Is that what this means?
Chat thinks yes.
And Mrs. R.A.'s closer in the dryer. We had a.
Guess who that's from?
Who's this from?
Who do you think that's from?
Amber. Amber, did you send this? Oh my goodness! Can I hang this on the door? And is this timing out Mrs. R.A.? That's what I'm curious, because you guys don't know this, but she is probably one of the strictest mods we have.
Oh, I don't put up with crap.
She doesn't put up with crap. She says if anything that even has a scintilla of odor of a possible offensiveness, it's gone. It's gone, and no qualms about it either. But thank you, Amber. I will remember that her clothes are in the dryer. The story relates back to when we were going on a date, and I brought Mrs. R.A. in to cover for me for the last part of the show. And meanwhile, I ran and grabbed my shirt and got it wet and put it in the dryer, white shirt, so I could get the wrinkles out because I don't iron anything. And to do that, I had to take the clothes that were currently drying in the dryer out so that mine could dry. Well, the clothes that were drying in the dryer were Mrs. R.A.'s clothes that she was going to wear on the same date. So I got ready. My shirt looked nice. She gets to go get her clothes that are dry and know they're wet in a heap in a laundry basket. So that's what the reminder was for. All right. Oh, my goodness. What a great start to the morning. Okay. My retina is burning, says Meaty Banana. I might take the hoodie off, but I've got to be careful that I don't make the show more than what it's supposed to be in the process. Birthdays. Right? Are we doing birthdays? For birthday wishes? Yes. Where's the birthday? Right there. Okay. Oh my goodness. Did you ever take pics of your day? I took a picture of me in the sleigh. That's the only thing we got. Me in the sleigh. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the birthdays, which I clicked off of. I'm sorry. I might have lost them. Where are the birthdays? Do we have them one more time? Samantha, is it? It's okay. Sharon, Samantha, I'm sorry. Looking for the birthdays. Hopefully don't be gone.
Have them send someone with more experience.
They're gone. Sweet and Salty says, you need a screaming goat. That would be awesome. I was sent a screaming goat. I don't know who from, but I got a screaming goat. It just arrived in the mail a couple weeks ago. I just threw something on the floor, but I don't know what it was. All right. Let's see. Birthdays. I had one job and I completely forgot. So everyone who has a birthday, I lost the birthdays. Luckily, though, people remember, right? Okay. Birthday is Saturday. If we're not going live again this week, we have to talk about that, about the schedule for this week.
All that.
Because
that was terrible.
I am going to be driving tomorrow. And by driving tomorrow, I mean 11-ish, 12-ish hours of driving. We're headed to Florida. By we, I'm taking you guys virtually, and I'm going physically. Okay, where are the? Can we do a birthday poll one more time and see whose birthday it is? I feel bad that I lost. I really do feel bad. I feel bad that I lost 3 birthdays on your special day. Misty Beard, thanks for all you do, and thanks to Mrs. Ari for sharing you with us. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. All right. I'm not seeing the birthdays again. Selena K, also happy to have the distraction of my life. You've all kept me sober for almost a year. Selena, that is awesome. Congratulations. Looking forward to that year mark and well beyond. That's going to be great. Stream the drive, please. BG, I have the capability to do this. Here's my only drawback. If I live stream the drive, the one thing I can't do is listen to music. And the other thing I can't do is look at chat. So I could take you on a road trip. We could drive from North Carolina to Florida together. And you could see me stop at every gas station. Well, you could see the car stop. You'd be looking out the front window. Maybe I could mute it. I don't know. That would be, I don't know, if I have like a incident of like energetic driving involving someone else, I'd like you guys to hear that. Brandy Joe, welcome to the gallery. Thank you very much. Thank you. Selena, thank you. Congratulations also. Selena, 8 months. Shop Soup says, welcome to the gallery. Shop Soup, welcome. KH in South Carolina, I'm so glad to be here. Kay, thank you. I'm still loving that little knitted blanket. Incredible. Jenny B, excited for Friday. I'm also excited for Friday. Let's talk about Friday while we wait for the birthdays to show up. There was a buffer again. Did I miss it? Let's see. Don't dox yourself. I think I'll cut off the. Here it is, Sharon. I'm not going to click on another thing until we finish the birthdays. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave this up on the screen, but Okie Sundancer, CJ, Brenda. We're going to sing to those 3, and if anyone else has a birthday, feel included. Does that work? All right. Here we go. Everyone warm up. La 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 la. Okay, it sounds great. Shoulders back, deep breath. Remember, project, sing to the back of the room, and blend with your neighbors. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, all the people whose birthday it is. Happy birthday to you. Somebody did the more experienced thing in the middle of that, and it threw me off. We have to sing another verse, and I'll sing your names. Hang on one second. We've got Okie, CJ, and Brenda. Okay, Okie, CJ, and Brenda. Let's do this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Okie, CJ, and Brenda. Happy birthday to you. There we go. We got all the names in, I think, that we needed to. And if we didn't, please feel included. I'm sorry, Reverend Beasy. I'm sorry. I assign she to everyone who is in chat. Why? Only because statistically, that's the safest bet. And so when I don't know, I just say she. Because 85% of you, according to YouTube, are she. So I'm sorry, Reverend Beasy. Thank you very much. Let's see. I think we're good. Taminator just gifted 5 memberships. All right, let's do this. Happy birthday, everyone. Get your free pancakes. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for sharing it with us. Lastly, let's talk Florida, and then we're going to talk about some motions that were made. What is that? What is that noise? My iPad's fixed. Good news. Good news. I can now show you how many objections we had in the trial, and the countdown timer and everything. I guess it needed a full charge, and now it's working again. But now it also brought back the little buzz. So that's good. All right, iPad's fixed. That's good news. Well, it's still broken. The screen's shattered, but the rest of it is good. All right, Florida. We are going to Florida. I have reserved my rental car. I'm picking it up this afternoon because tomorrow morning, probably before the sun comes up. That sound has to go. Fixed it. Probably before the sun comes up tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be headed out on the drive, which means bright and early. We're thinking probably 6:00 ish, maybe 5:30. I'm gonna go and start driving to Florida. It says it's gonna take about 11 and a half hours, up to 13 and a half hours. Depends on traffic. It's always bad when they can add a couple hours to your commute depending on traffic. So it's going to be a long drive. It's going to be the longest one-day drive I've ever done. I've driven maybe 6 hours in a day before. This is going to be a lot more. So there may be Mountain Dew involved. We have a rental car for a couple of reasons. First of all, the gas mileage it gets is double that my current vehicle, or more than double what my current vehicle gets. And when you're driving 1,500 miles, that adds up really fast. So it's more economical to get a rental car. And then we have just some amazing people who have been quite generous, offering all sorts of assistance once we get to Florida. And I'm taking up one of those individuals as far as staying there. So thank you for that. And then we're going to be at the courthouse. We'll be staying not far from the courthouse, and we'll be there to go live. I've got some things to do this afternoon just to line up everything. The one thing I'm just super nervous about, and I'm not sleeping well thinking about, is there is a third player involved in this whole process that I cannot control. It's not the court, and it's not me. It's another media outlet, and they have to do their part properly, like they should, for this to work. And if they don't, we have a problem. And I won't know till I get there. So we're doing, if that happens, we're going to find a workaround. We're going to do what we can. Anyway, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I'm doing everything I can to make sure this works properly. And our intention is to provide a clean feed of the court hearing from in-camera, courtrooms cameras, much like we watch the rest of the trial. And provide that on most likely my other channel as a clean feed, and then allow it to be used on a couple other channels because people have reached out and expressed interest in using that as well. So that's where we're going. Jennifer, thank you so much for Gas and Munchies. I thought you gave me something for Gas and Munchies the other day. I'm going to be fat before I get to Florida. The gas mileage is going to go down and down as I eat more and more. Anyway, it's a nice straight drive. It's not a complicated one. I think there's I don't think there's any tolls. There's a little bit of construction here and there, a couple slow areas. I've like zoomed through the whole thing, but I'm going to be driving down through North Carolina, through South Carolina, through Georgia, where we just watched the trial this last week, a tough one for me anyway, and then into Florida. So then once we get to Florida, we'll be staying down in Sarasota. I think like 10 minutes from the courthouse, 10, 12, 15 minutes from the courthouse. And it's going to be cool. Did you print your MapQuest directions? No. I asked Jeeves. Is MapQuest still a thing? I use my phone. The other channel is the Top Mark Media channel. I think I can put a link in here somewhere, but I'm doing that because that will allow me, if I have the ability, if I'm able to also live stream and comment at the same time, I can use that feed. So other people can use that feed and not have me on it, right? So there would be a clean feed out there. Then I could do the commentary on this one, and other people would be able to use that feed without without me interrupting and them having to mute me out, because that wouldn't work. So that's our process for how we're going to make it happen. I'm super excited. I've been to Atlanta before, but not. I've been to Georgia. I've been to Atlanta, but I'm not going through Atlanta.
When are we going to break for lunch?
I'm staying near the coast all the way down. It's almost, because I'm out near the coast right now in North Carolina. I sort of just follow the coastline down and then cut across Florida to get to Sarasota. Let's see. Tom says, not a bad drive at all. Thank you. That's what I needed to hear. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I'm a little bit nervous that Dr. Joe doesn't know that I might snore a little bit. I just outed him. I'm sorry. I wasn't going to tell you that. But Dr. Joe, thank you very much. Dr. Joe has a property he's allowing me to stay at. So super, super generous. I did not intend to say that. Mountain Dew and gas fund, drive safe. Thank you very much, Vicky. I appreciate that. That will go to a good use. Dang it. You know when you buy someone a Christmas gift and you're all excited to you're all excited for them to open it, but then you go and you accidentally tell them what it is before they open it. I feel like that's what I just did. Man. Okay. All right. Dr. Joe said no dew, just water. We're gonna have to compromise somewhere, Megan. We're gonna have to find a middle ground, because I need to arrive awake. I can just delete the stream, start again, and all y'all can forget it. You can forget what I've said. All right. Anyway, incredible, generous offer, and so grateful. I'm so excited to meet him in person, to see possibly see some of his family members. There are a couple other people that might be there that I'll get an opportunity possibly to see briefly. I'm not staying very long. It's literally I plug it in. I get there, I sleep, I arrive in the morning, I plug it in.
Scratch all that.
Court happens, I unplug it, we wave at everybody and go. There's going to be very little other time other than that. I guess that should have been on the other side of the sign. Yeah. So we also have a possibility that I'll be in the courtroom. Because we have
someone with more experience.
We have someone who's volunteered to come down and help me by monitoring my gear in the news media outlet. And I can't just leave thousands of dollars of gear sitting in the news room, which is sort of open to the public more or less, and just expect it to not get messed with and keep working and everything. Juror number 1 says coffee and donuts, fun. Thank you very much, Juror number 1. Appreciate it. We're gonna be good down there. I'm super excited. Super excited. All right. There's the second channel. The plan, Samantha, right now, the plan for those that know, the plan is to stream the feed from the courtroom, just the courtroom. So nothing, no commentary, no moderators in chat. I'll probably even have chat turned off on that channel. And I'll just stream it on that channel. And then I will pull that in. If I'm able to live stream, I'll use the feed and my camera. So I'm trying to take enough stuff that I can do a crude, like a rudimentary version of our live stream. If I'm able to stream from the newsroom down there, if that's possible. If not, then I will. That reminds me of something I need to bring. Let me add it to the list. I've got like a shopping list to make sure I pack everything. One more reason why it's better that I drive than fly. Rode wireless mics. Okay, done. All right. If you decide what I'm going to wear, Keith, I'm going to dress up to the nines. Really, if I'm going to be in court, I'm going to be wearing dress slacks and a button-up shirt, probably a colored button-up shirt. Might do probably short sleeve because it's California, or it's not California. It's We're on the other side of the country. I'm really good at geography, by the way. I just want to take a moment to tell you that I aced that class in third grade. I found exactly where we were on the globe. But no, we're going to Florida, not California. But because it might be a little bit warmer, I'll probably do short sleeve. I tried to join yesterday, but I don't think it worked. This is for the road trip. Y'all make this a great place. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mickey. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Can we get started? We have motions to cover. Greeners, yes, we do. And we have motions. Greeners and many other people. Let me just say, Thank you, Pamela. This is the one other thing I'm trying to fit in is see if that's a possibility. But many people sent me some of the motions that we're going to cover today, and now I don't have any of them pulled up on my screen. So just 1 minute. Greeners, you were one of them. I appreciate that so much. Let's see, yesterday.
Bring the jury.
Downloads. Where is it? Doc 1. That was the 6th.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
I need to find it again. Okay. Hold tight, guys. Going through all my different emails. It was on Recovery Addict. Search for...
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
All right.
Have them send someone with more experience.
There are two things we want to do. Response to juror motion number 1. We're going to read first. We're going to read the Maya motion. This is the response to juror number 1. After that, we are going to jump down to our favorite Orange County court.
Alex stole it as well.
And look at the latest filing in the Sarah Boone issue, because that saga is continuing and it has a new chapter. So we're going to look at that trial. The Sarah Boone trial is coming up in January. True Crime Fangirl, thank you very much. I don't have, well, I think I do have a Venmo, but I don't post that publicly. I have a PayPal, but if you go to my, I think it's on the about, there's a link tree, and then there's a link to,
there's a lawsuit
to PayPal there. If you can find that, let me know if it doesn't work, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Okay, so we'll pull this one out there. Okay, so we have Sarah Boone's ready, and now let's send this one over from the computer to the MacBook Pro. All right, and it's going to be on 8. We're getting there, guys.
How does he do that?
I don't know. It's rough. I'm barely getting it working right now. View as continuous scroll. Guys. Lunch is not yet. All right, we're going to turn down the sounds just a tiny bit. I don't think I need any volume on this one. And we're going to go to camera 8. I might lose the hoodie because it suddenly got warm. It suddenly got just a little bit toasty. So give me just 1 second, because reading is gonna take a little bit of energy here. So hold on. No, just kidding. Whew. That feels better. That feels much better. My probably didn't get picked up, but that was my little, that was my foray into OnlyFans right there. That's as close as you're going to get. All right, Amanda, thank you for this amazing channel. It makes my workday go by much faster listening to you. Thank you, Amanda. I apologize. Today we're only going to have a partial day because I have to do a lot of packing, get ready, run and get a rental car, load it, and do some stuff. Safe trip to Florida. Thank you, Nancy Mammy DeMay. I appreciate that. I'm sure it'll be a safe trip. I will be very careful. And it's going to be fun. And possibly, I don't know, we might be able to live stream it. All right. This for the background on this motion. We have to understand that the JHACH lawyers, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Shapiro, Ms. Corrells, they fought hard for their client, and they're not done fighting. And they're fighting in ways that we typically don't see in a trial, that we as court observers don't see in the trial. I'm not saying that this is something that's never been done before, because a lot of these, they're going to cite some case law. They're going to, they have cited some other cases where there were issues with the trial. But they've done this particularly in a way that, and you're going to hear this in the motion, that seems reprehensible to the plaintiff and to the attorneys and probably to the people involved. I'm not going to speak for them. They are able to do that if they so choose to do. But this motion that the defense filed was singling out one member of the jury because they were able to identify them basically, and then doing a deep dive not just on him but on his family, and trying to insinuate by legal and even ethical things that they had done that something inappropriate had happened. I have not seen any evidence that anything inappropriate has happened. Anything on any front, whether it's from the juror, whether it's from family members, whether it's from friends associated or somebody who might have met with them. I have seen zero evidence that anything inappropriate has happened. That's my viewpoint. That's my observation. That's what I would know if they call me to testify. That's what I would say. They're not going to call me to testify, but just so you know. So they filed this motion and they've listed a bunch of things that they don't like about what juror number 1 did. They don't like that his personality was, it came through on some of the questions during the trial as it wasn't written in such a way as to be like a nice, clean, generic question. It had some emphasis and some feeling behind it and some descriptors and some humor. They were real person questions. Okay. Much like if you had a friend over that was asking a question about something, you were learning about something, and they asked, like, do you really believe that? What's this? It had that sort of feel to it. And we, throughout the trial, we loved them. We loved the questions. We could not wait for the juror questions, because not only does it sort of give us a little peek into the juror's mind as to, like, what are they thinking about? It also lets us sort of get to know them through the questions they ask. Unfortunately for the defense, eventually they got to know the jurors very well, and they got to know that on 44 of 44 issues they did not agree with the jurors, and because of that, and after they found out they lost on all those fronts, they started making complaints about what happened before. I view this like somebody who lost a game and then went back and tried to throw a challenge flag at something that happened during the game that they didn't object to at the time. Sometimes they even said they were okay with. And so they go back and they're trying to nitpick, and they're trying to explain the loss and say, well, clearly it can't be us, right? Because we're the winning team. We're the JHACH lawyers. We're the winning team. So if they came back with a verdict that was against us, there must have been a problem, which leads us to the introduction of this motion, which was clearly written by Greg. And the first paragraph basically just says that this is who they are: Jack Kowalski, Beata. We've got Maya in there, Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital. Those are the players. The defendant's second supplement should be stricken and sanctions imposed upon the defendant just for raising such inflammatory and callous allegations without a sound basis. Sorry, I need to go full screen on this so I can read it. This shows that, just like Greg said in his closing argument, that JHACH just doesn't get it. They still don't get it. Like, even after all this time thinking about it, he says they still don't get it. Rob, have a great day. I didn't see you sneak in there. Welcome. Are you working today, or are you lurking? A little of both. Patrick Mahomes blaming the refs for throwing a completely proper flag. Yes, it was. It seems like poor sportsmanship in some ways that this is going on, and not just poor sportsmanship. It's not just like going back and saying, hey, if I go back and watch the replay, we see, under this fourth camera angle that nobody had, that somebody actually stepped on the line that should have been out. Yeah, that sucks when that happens. It happens in games, okay? Occasionally, when you're playing Monopoly, somebody lands on your property and you forget to charge them. And by my rules of Monopoly, if you forget to charge somebody when they land on your property, I can't go back and say, hey, wait, last round you owed me $40 for landing on Baltic Place, and I had a hotel. You can't do that. It's not Baltic Avenue, I think it is. You can't do that. But it seems like that's what they're doing, and not only that, the way they're looking back and the way they're attacking seems to be vicious and out of bounds. I don't know how else to describe this. It seems to be like they're going to new extremes to find fault and to dig up things, and not just to say, hey, there's a problem that needs to be addressed, but actually potentially causing problems by the way they're doing this. Okay, problems like outing a juror in a document that's publicly released. And, you know, I realize that the law in Florida says if you have to file a juror complaint, you have to include the juror's name and address in the complaint. But complaints can be filed under seal. Things can be handled so it does not get released publicly, and this one was not. Instead, they put it right there on the front page. And it's just, it seems like they were, to me, it seems like they're vindictive. And they're literally trying to, if we don't win this, at least we can take them down in the process. That's what it seems like to me. Okay, that's my take on it. You may have a different take, and that's okay. I think they have a different take, and that's okay. If anyone of the other defense attorneys are watching right now or watching this on the replay, if you're watching on the replay, you missed a chance. If you're watching right now, call on the burn phone. We'd love to hear from you and hear your side of it. I'd take your call, and I'd be respectful even. Anyway, so that's where we are. The burner phone's right there. Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Hunter, Corrells, you've got the number. Even Mr. Altenburns, if you want to talk, I'm right here for you, man. Give me a call. All right, let's see. I'll post the alternate site if ours doesn't work. Yes, I've shared that, and we'll do. I'll probably have one of my mods or myself post a link once we know how it's going to work and what's available in the courthouse, what we're going to be allowed to do. I'll post a community post so that we can get everybody to where they need to go. All right, let's read this. This is the response to juror number one's the juror number one motion, and specifically the juror number one motion when they added to their initial motion. The first motion they complained about, that they complained about his wife. They complained about who is here in chat today. Welcome, good to have you here, Hippo Lover. I think juror number one's here as well. Good to have you as well. They complained about them being online. After the fact, in some cases, with juror number one, they complained about being after the fact. They complained about her being online and talking with friends online about the case because guess what? She can't talk to her husband about it. So, and they just insinuated that because this happened, clearly they broke other rules that we don't have any evidence of, and we need to grill them. We need to get them in an interrogation room, turn on the bright lights, and ask them the hard questions so we can find that wrongdoing, just like they found the child abuse. Right? It's a frustrating thing that they're doing, and my heart goes out to Hippo Lover and juror number one. Thank you for standing strong in this time. I appreciate you. Anyway, so they filed the first motion, and then they added to it, and they went back and they literally dug through the depths, the dredges of Reddit. I make the joke that it was so deep I think they actually scooped down to a layer of 4chan, right? I don't know. It could have even had its roots into Pirate Bay. This is like so dark internet. I don't know. You probably have to pay somebody per hour to use a CD like internet cafe to get to this stuff. It's something you wouldn't want to do on your home computer. That's just my humorous take on the motion on the situation. But anyway, they dug through Reddit, which is often. It has some of the best. I will say Reddit has some of the best and some of the worst content on the internet. And Haunted Pizza's like, not Pirate Bay. Not my gumdrop buttons. Anyway, they dug down there, and somebody somewhere they talked about, they drew some conclusions based on the way letters were written. The fact that the S's in Sally Smith's name had a little angle on it. Okay, and because there were angles on the S's, they said clearly there's a hidden meaning here, and we have to get to the bottom of it. And so they went on the internet, and I'm sure they searched. They scoured the internet to see where else do these S's occur, and they occur other places. That symbol, that little lightning jab, it's right here. Okay, there it is. It's all over in our emojis. It's all over in corporate logos. It's all over in band names. It is all over the place. Is that what they cited? No. They instead went to, this is clearly something from the Nazi regime. From the Nazi regime. We're talking about the SS here. Okay, they went to the deepest, darkest place and said, and this means that juror number one Think this through. In his written note to the judge, which only the judge and the juror sees, not to any other jurors, not to the public until after the case is over, is trying to send a message, a coded message, that Sally Smith has won Yahtzee. No, yes, that's the one. All right. Anyway, it is everywhere. Krista has it. Krista won the internet. Look at this, Krista. Your winning comment clearly puts you in the same camp as juror number one, with your prejudgment of the situation of the internet. But so this motion that we're going to read right now is a response to what the defendant filed and said about, sorry, that's impossible to read. Michelle, let me check that. They don't get the fact that maybe, just maybe, the juror went online because he knew it was a big case. There was a question about a documentary. That's kind of a clue. I would do the same. I know that the juror didn't go online. That's the point. The juror followed the judge's orders and didn't go online, and he didn't talk to his wife for 9 weeks. He sat there silent. Do you know what happened after? Let me just tell you. I'm putting myself in their shoes. Do you know what happened after? Do you know what happened after the case was over? The two went home and met, and they said, "Finally, what did you think? Oh my goodness, it's been 9 weeks." And I'm sure the juror said, "What happened? What was going on out there?" And they said, "I can't wait to watch. Sit down. You've got to watch." I'm sure she said, "You've got to watch Recovery Addict. You've got to watch Recovery Addict. You've got to watch Law and Lumber. You've got to watch Lawyer. You know, you've got to watch Melanie Little. You've got to watch all these amazing. Kurt has great stuff. I'm missing all the people that covered this, but there's content all over the place. People are talking about this so much. Oh no, guess what you didn't see? Guess what you didn't hear? You got to listen to AC/DC. Yes. That's what happened. And I'm sure juror number one just wanted to binge watch and like, holy cow, this is so informative. And here I have knowing what happened. Now I know I can tell you now what happened in the juror room. And you can tell me what happened outside that you observed that we couldn't talk about for 9 weeks. Because guess what? We followed the law. Juror number one, with his law enforcement background, understood the law, understood the importance of being a juror and serving and following the judge's, not just recommendations, but the judge's orders in what the jurors should do in the conduct and how and who they could talk to and what they could talk about. And after 9 weeks, he got to finally say, wow, what's going on? And you know what we saw after 9 weeks? Guess what? Juror number one jumped on. He's like, hey, this is crazy. This is me. I was the juror. Did you guys see me? And he jumped online. He came in a couple of our chats. He talked to Rob. He talked to me in chat. Other places as well. And guess what? He was like, wow, this is crazy. Guess what he said? I've got to catch up on all this. I've got to binge watch and see where we are. But instead, the defense looked at that and said, clearly, this is evidence that all along they were colluding. They were talking. They were secretly, telepathically sending messages to each other or something. The motion is bizarre for me. It seems bizarre. We're going to read this now. I've stalled long enough. Let's get right to it, Greeners. Greeners, I'm sorry. I've been stalling. What about the sleeping symbols? Yes. Anyway, here we go. Everyone's saying thank you. Thank you for stopping your, what's it called? Is it a soliloquy? Is it a soliloquy? You English teachers out there, red pen if you can let me know. When I'm just talking to myself, is that a soliloquy? I love all these examples of the names. The defendant's second supplement should be stricken. This is the one that talks about the SS. And sanctions imposed upon the defendant for raising such inflammatory and callous allegations without a sound basis. The second supplement fails to raise any issue that, even if true, could serve as justification for a new trial, since the October 12th note written by juror number one was shown to all counsel at the time, and the defendant failed to raise any issue about the alleged rune in the note. The alleged rune they're talking about, that's the symbol, that the S with the sharper than curved corners. That's it. It's yes, Mrs. R.A. There we go. Why is that important? So much in court has to happen at the appropriate time. The law is not favorable to you going back and trying to change things in the past. Okay? This is the moment. This is your time to make an objection. Like in football. Okay? If there is a foul that's occurred on the play, a flag, should have been thrown, but it wasn't caught. Okay, it may have been seen. We might have seen it sitting at home on our couch. We might have seen a hold or something that was inappropriate, and it enabled the other team to get a first down. And the other team runs up to the line. They spot the ball. The shot clock's going, and they hike the ball, and they get the play off. Guess what? Even if at that moment the quarterback's holding the ball back, he hasn't yet thrown it yet in this play. Even if that moment the referee's like, "Yep, you're right. That was a foul back there." It's too late. You cannot stop. Once they've got to that point, it's like, this is too late. You had your opportunity. Their coach had the opportunity to throw a challenge flag and say, "Hey, you need to look at that," and you didn't do it. And now we have to move on. So yeah, we're at that point. They're saying they failed to raise any issue about the alleged ruin in that note. Quote, "Where a lawyer knows of an incident potentially compromising the jury before a verdict is returned, but fails to object or alert the court until after the verdict is announced, the incident may not..." Oh, I've got somebody calling. Hang on one second. It might be Mr. Shapiro.
Call from Manatee County Judicial Center.
I've got to take this one offline. Just one second. All right, that was final confirmation of everything we needed. Confirmation that the third party is doing what they need to do, so we will get the feed and the contact information for who I need to talk to make sure everything happens. So I will do that here in a minute. But first, I'm so excited. That was good news. That was good news. All right, that was Donna from the courthouse. All right. I think that's the judge's personal assistant, by the way. Where was I? I got lost. And I'll be in the room next to the courtroom, by the way. I'll be right there, so I might be able to pop in and out. Kurt is in the house. Kurt, welcome. Names. No, let's be nice. Let's be nice. I was hoping it was the defense, but that was that was better than the defense calling. That was the judge saying we're all set for you to live stream. Okay, so where a lawyer knows of an incident and doesn't raise the incident, it may not be raised as grounds for a new trial. That's case law. The second district holds the same when it was discovered during deliberations that the bailiff had left the judge's copy of instructions with changes made during the charge conference in the jury room. The defendant's objection was untimely because it was not made until after the jury had delivered the adverse verdict. Now, that's not what happened here. That was the nice version. Thank you, Kurt. That's not what happened here. They're talking about case law. Okay, so in this case, they didn't leave instructions in the jury room, but they're citing this in this so that the judge knows that previously these events have occurred, and this is how the law determines that, and that precedent, the preceding occurrence and the result guides the court in decisions it makes. So that's why they're including this. In some, defendant's erroneous argument is not preserved. So you didn't make a timely objection. Had they said, "Your Honor, we object." Right here, we have a problem with this. In the moment, they're like, clearly he's sending a signal. There's something hidden, nefarious in this message. that needs to be addressed, and if the judge said no, it's fine, they're like, well, we'd like to preserve for the record that we have an objection. This is over our objection. We think something needs to be done. That would have preserved it. They did not do it. They did not do it. So now coming back and saying, go back and throw that flag retroactively, you can't do this. Defense counsel had the opportunity to review the note and failed to raise any issue. Defendant cannot now assail the adverse verdict by raising an issue it could have raised at the time. Now, when they say opportunity to review the note, they literally are handed the note. And we saw this over and over in court. It's not the judge saying, let me tell you what the juror said, right? He reads it. Sometimes he struggles with the words because the judge sometimes struggled with some of the, sometimes spelling was off a little bit, or sometimes there might have been a little typo in the various notes that came from the jury. He reads it or does his best to do it, and then he hands it to the attorneys, and both sides get to look at it and review it. So they not just had the opportunity, but they held this in their grubby fists and made the decision not to object. So now they can't. Beyond defendant's waiver, the callous disregard of defendant on display in the second supplement should be met with sanctions, right? This is literally, they're asking for more sanctions, saying that because of what they did in their their addition to the second sanction, their second sanction addition, they should get more punishments. Rule 4-8.4, misconduct. A lawyer shall not engage in conduct in connection with practice of law that is prejudicial to the administration of justice, including to knowingly or through callous indifference disparage or humiliate jurors on any basis. That's a tough one. How do they say that they're not doing that? Well, we're probably going to hear argument about that on Friday, which is one of the reasons why we're super excited to be there and bring you that stream. The defendant's second supplement is beyond the pale. If the first supplement fell short of serving no purpose other than to disparage and or humiliate juror number one, there is no question that the defendant has succeeded in displaying callous indifference towards juror number one in its second supplement. So if the first one didn't meet that threshold, the second one sure did. The basis for the second supplement is so thin, so poorly reasoned, and so inflammatory that the defendant's intent to disparage juror number one above all else is clear. Defendant selects a singular tone from one of the approximately 200 questions and notes submitted by juror number one during the trial to suggest that juror number one equated Dr. Sally Smith with a notorious Nazi organization and accuses juror number one of the use of Nazi symbolism. Defendant argues that the juror number one's alleged use of Nazi symbolism demonstrates a clear bias, prejudice, and prejudgment against her and thus the defendant. Defendant jumps from stylized S's on the October 10th note without any evidence of such intent, in plain ignorance of other more likely and plausible explanations, and with callous disregard for the effect on juror number one's reputation, before suggesting that juror number one had such an intent to use Nazi symbolism and implying that juror number one was a neo-Nazi or white supremacist based on his use of such Nazi symbolism. The defendant developed no evidence, ignored the manifest weight of the other writings of juror number one suggesting no such intent, and opted for the most heinous explanation of the stylized S's in juror number one's note. First, the defendant ignores the Sowillo rune predated the Nazi Party and the Schutzstaffel. I can't say this word. Schutzstaffel by approximately 18 centuries. With the earliest known inscriptions dating back to the 12th or 3rd century, the Sowillo rune regularly appears in popular culture, having been incorporated into the logos of bands Kiss and Slayer, Caesar's Palace, Thrasher Magazine, etc., and the rune alphabet having been used in both Lord of the Rings and more recently, Harry Potter. I love the movie references. You guys know that I love it when they put movie references in here. See Composite Exhibit A. We will look at that in just a minute. Nonetheless, defendant callously opts for the most sinister of interpretations. Even in writing his own name, juror number one has a tendency to use sharp angles, as indicated by the P and the L he signed on the verdict form. Moreover, the defendant argues that juror number one has expressed prejudice against Dr. Smith on October 12th, and even before that, on October 10th, prejudged the relationship between JHACH and Dr. Smith. The defendant attaches the October 10th and 12th questions, intentionally omitting the numerous other mentions of Dr. Sally Smith within juror number one's questions. See compendium of juror number one's questions referencing Dr. Sally Smith at Composite Exhibit C. The full scope of juror number one's questions clearly demonstrate that the juror number one neither expressed prejudice against Dr. Sally Smith and did not prejudge the relationship between JHACH and Dr. Smith. Importantly, if defendant's allegations are accepted as true, that juror number one's stylistic S's demonstrated prejudice on October 12th, his view of Dr. Sally Smith softened throughout the trial. Michelle, thank you very much. She says, just to clear things up, I meant after the case was over. I'm not and would never suggest any juror went online during the case, as I would never do that as a juror either. Love to everyone. Thank you, Michelle. I probably misread that, but I appreciate the clarification. That's wonderful. Rebecca says, have a safe road trip. Hope it all goes well. Hugs to juror number one. And Jules, sending my love to you all from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. If I'm able to meet up with people, I will definitely pass your good wishes along. I don't know who I'm mostly just I'm there for the tech. Really, I'm there for the tech. That's my priority. And then if I'm able to meet some people, I'll shake some hands and tell them thank you. The notorious Jules. All right. Let's see. The full scope demonstrate that juror number one neither expressed prejudice against Dr. Sally Smith, but it softened throughout the trial. That's it. The full set of juror number one's questions, all post-stating the October 12th reference, invariably used soft S's. Just as importantly, defendant's myopic view of the two notes attached in its second supplement ignore the clear, direct questions asked by juror number one, reflecting that he remained open-minded throughout the trial. Keeping in mind that the defendant argues that juror number one's October 10th note conclusively demonstrates that he had prejudged the relationship between JHACH and Dr. Sally Smith, the October 24th question posed by juror number one to Dr. Paola Dees is instructive. It says, Doctor, if during this time Dr. Smith was, per Mr. Shapiro, acting as a DCF employee, then is it proper for Dr. Smith to act as a contributing staff member of JHACH? 2 weeks after the defendant contends juror number one had prejudged the relationship between JHACH and Dr. Sally Smith, he asked a JHACH physician whether her actions within the hospital as they related to Maya were proper. Defendant fails to explain this inconsistency. David Woodmansee, Goodman's Law has left the internet, has entered court filings. Godwin's Law. Sorry. Yes, there we go. I said Goodman. I was just, your message, David, it fit perfectly between Rob from Law and Lumber and Matthew Harris, two of my favorite lawyers. Rob says, I actually blocked off my calendar, so no motions got scheduled Friday, so just so I could be around to watch live. Rob, I need to talk to you about possibilities there. And all that. Thank you. If I'm not sure if Wise County permits cameras, most likely not as a blanket policy, but by agreement of the parties and approval of the court, any specific case could be televised. All right. Do I need a drink? Mrs. R.A. brought me. I thought it was her witch's brew, but no, it's hot chocolate. It's yummy. How about Murphy's Law in this case? That is so good. Guys, if you have not had Stevens Gourmet Hot Chocolate, first of all, you need to call them and tell them they need to sponsor me so I get more free Stevens Gourmet Hot Chocolate. And second, you need to try Stevens Gourmet Hot Chocolate in that order. Oh, it's good. Uncivil Law, another of my favorite lawyers. Welcome. It's good to have great, wise minds present that can set me straight as I regularly go off base. So thank you very much, all of you gentlemen. And ladies. We have some fantastic ladies as well. So the defendant failed to explain the inconsistency. Or consider juror number one's question to Dr. Randall Alexander, the defendant's child abuse expert, on October 31st. He said, Dr. Alexander, is it normal for Sally Smith, acting in DCF capacity, to even offer medical advice to JHACH on a juvenile patient while she is not to be a doctor at JHACH, but now in the hat of a DCF investigator? So normal or not normal? Even as late as Halloween, less than 10 days before the jury delivered its verdict, juror number one was exploring the contours of Dr. Sally Smith's various roles and her role at the hospital. Defendant offers no explanation. Even with a modicum of due diligence and consideration of the collection of juror number one's questions, the defendant's second supplement collapses under its own premise, and the defendant's true purpose of further disparage and humiliate juror number one shines through. Since the verdict was rendered by the six jurors on November 9th, the defendant has moved far beyond simply defending itself and deliberately attempting to destroy the reputation of another human being. Simply because he served his civic duty and in doing so joined his fellow five jurors in disagreeing with the defendant's indefensible position. Wherefore, plaintiff respectfully requests that this honorable court deny defendant's motion, strike the second supplement as both frivolous and scandalous, and award attorney fees, costs for any other relief this honorable court deems just and proper. This right here, awarding the attorney fees and costs, that is a sanction. That's a sanction the judge can order. So basically they're saying throw this out. The other one should be thrown out. This one definitely should be thrown out. And they should have to pay for the time and effort we expended reading it and responding to it, and fighting it in court. So now we have the exhibits. Now this is where it gets really good as we scroll down here. Here we have the Sowillo, the first, the S that dates back 18 centuries before. This is a rune. It's a rune. It's an old rune. And now look at all the places this has shown up. Look at all the places you see the same symbol with the it's often drawn into a lightning bolt. You've got the flash, you've got AC/DC, you've got the bolt. You've got bolt right there. We have I can't even recognize all of them, but there are symbols all over the place. Gatorade uses it. There's Harry Potter again with the same thing. The Facebook Messenger, twists it a little bit, but uses a similar version, mirror image. Article has one. SoCal Skate Shop. Shout out to SoCal Skate Shop, who found themselves in the middle of a Florida jury motion. All sorts of symbols. This is a little bit hard to read, so let me see if I can enlarge it a little bit. Is it? Oh, that's the biggest it gets right here. Hey, how's it going? East lie in the Iron Hills. Where's the Dawn Twain? Oh, okay. This is a Lord of the Rings, right? In the desolation of Smog. Look at this. Look at all these runes right here. This language was used there, and here we have that same symbol. So clearly, who wrote Lord of the Rings? J.R.R. Tolkien. I should know that. Don't at me. So Tolkien clearly is in on this conspiracy as well. There's that S. Look at those hard angles. Clearly prejudged. Tolkien prejudged everything. Oh, Thrasher. Here we go. Skateboard Magazine. Thank you, Thrasher, for your contributions here. Caesar's Palace. You're in on this. Next thing you're going to say, Little Caesars is in on it too. All my pizza place. Okay. Exhibit B. Let's keep going. What do we have? Oh yes, this is the name of the foreperson with hard angles. Hard angles. Zoom, 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 zoom. It's like Zorro, right? He uses his pen like Zorro. This is how I anticipate. The first time I use the pen that Rob sent me. This amazing pen, which I'll be taking with me to Florida just in case we get somebody to autograph something. It will be with this pen. I imagine it being used like Zorro with a flourish, with finesse, and with using it. It will be a statement in and of itself. How deep does a conspiracy go? Let's put on our tinfoil hats, because this is it's crazy. It seems crazy to me. It seems crazy to me. Okay, let's see. What is the total amount of Maya Kowalski's damages for pain and suffering? So this was the stuff on this page is not important, other than this was a juror form and it was signed. It was signed that way. Here's a composite exhibit C. Excuse me, got the hiccups. See, this is a good one. These are the notes from the juror. Look how curved this is. This is as rounded. This looks like a snake. Look, the S is it almost turns into an 8. Look how curved that is. So he runs the full gamut. Sometimes fully curved, sometimes hard angles. What can we read into the SS's? That he thinks she is a snake? Is that what we can read into the curved S's? More Sally Smith and different. Look, in the same note, the S's are different. How can we say that this is an underlying message and a prejudged? There's Sally Smith again. Thank you for highlighting all this for us. More juror notes. This one's Dr. Teppa mentioning Sally Smith. Look, it seems like the faster he writes, the harder the corners go. If he's slow and deliberate, they get curved. I think we've solved the problem right here. That's the solution. Sometimes the letters are spaced out. What can we insinuate by the fact that sometimes he puts more space between the letters? And look at this. Look at this. This one's single spaced, and this one's double spaced. Clearly, we have something underlined there. Reddit, come to our aid. Help us understand the spacing of the lines. And is this really a crossed out word? Or is this a hidden message? Because it's not crossed out once, it's crossed out twice. And it flares at the end. Where is that symbol also seen? You guys, we need to dig deeper into this. There is so much more to see in these notes than what the defense has drawn out. Clearly, they're missing everything, right in front of their nose. Oh my goodness! Never is in a larger font. You guys, I was with you up until you used the larger font, and now I am clearly Shapiro has convinced me. Why did he not mention that there was a larger font in here? I realize this is a little bit absurd, but honestly, to me, this note, oh my goodness, this one, I swear he's drawn a candy cane over this. He's drawn a diagonal and other semi-diagonal lines through it. There is so much in here. I think a good psychiatrist or a psychoanalysis is in order. I think I need the psychoanalysis and maybe the psychiatrist as well. If I think that this means anything. Oh no, we have a symbol at the bottom. Good grief. What is that? A backwards upside down F with a long short leg? Oh my goodness. You guys, this seals it. Look at this. Hidden message right before our eyes. Cross this whole section out. Wait, no, he didn't. He drew a huge, not S, a Z. Also with sharp angles, I might add. Also with sharp angles. And it says Sally Smith. Sharp angles, Sally Smith. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, anyway, we have all the notes. There's another one. Boom. Oh my goodness. How many? You know what we need?
What more do you need to see?
What more do you need to see?
Because he's the guy.
He's the guy. He's doing it right there. The sharp angles. Sally Smith's name on the page. There's got to be a connection. There's got to be a connection. That this discussion, all these notes, all the everything that the defense has brought in as well, is going to be presented to the judge. The judge has already read this, okay? He does his homework ahead of time, or he will have had it done by the time he goes to court. He will have viewed every page. He will have read every word of every motion because he is that thorough. And he's going to have something to say about this. He's going to have something to say about it. And I hope what he has to say about it is about this long and basically means the same thing. That it should be stricken and sanctions should be imposed for the defendant for raising such inflammatory and callous allegations without a sound basis. That I think is what the judge needs to highlight, and maybe he can reword it. He can reword it. And when he rewrites it, he should do it in handwritten. He should use my pen. That's actually a gift from Rob. And when he writes this part right here, I hope he puts the sharpest corners on those S's you've ever seen. It could cut the paper, it's so sharp. The second supplement, like Zorro. That's what I hope. Is that too much to ask? Maybe, but a guy can hope. A guy can hope. All right. That being said, we are not done. We are not done. We have one more great piece of work to review, and it's in a different case. Holy sharp angles, Batman. Yes, Maisel, that is funny. That issue, Friday is going to be jam-packed because everything the defense has brought up is going to be included in there. Everything that the plaintiff has responded with is going to be included. The sanctions that the plaintiff has asked for are going to be addressed. Now, it's possible that none of the decisions are made on that day. It's possible the judge just hears argument. We've heard that that's possibly going to happen. But the argument is the spiciness, the back and forth, where he says, well, Mr. Shapiro, what do you think? Mr. Hunter? Okay, Greg, what's your response there? That's what we're going to hear, the back and forth. And some of them might appear via Zoom. Some of them might appear in person. We're not sure exactly how that's going to work out. I think most of them will be there in person because these motions are very important, and they're important to both sides. Okay, a lot is riding. I'd say, I don't know, $261 million is riding on some of these motions. So it's going to be quite telling. Many of the S's are scarce. Some of them are missing curves. Some have a top curve and it's sharp. The bottom half is normal. Is that a secret half Nazi communication? It must be. Clearly, that's the only conclusion I could come to. What about the sharp corners of the dollar signs? Man, oh my goodness. Ohio Mom, I hadn't even included that, but clearly you found another piece of evidence that just fits together perfectly in this puzzle piece to spell out exactly what the defense, I don't know, dreamed up, dredged up. I realize there's probably somebody out there on Reddit who has a karma of like 2, who's like, I can't believe this. My motion, my little thing that I wrote in my mom's basement and that I posted on Reddit got liked by the defense attorney or by somebody who sent it to the defense attorney, and they're running with it. It's mine. That was my idea. And some guy, he's like super happy, and he's got framed his karma score of 2, which means that 2 people have liked what he said, and he was one of them. It just seems bizarre to me, and I realize I'm being a little bit I don't know. I'm a little bit snarky, but I honestly, it seems like the stretch is so far that they're reaching so far to grasp at straws in an inappropriate manner, in that the time was incorrect. The time to do this, if you did have an issue, was before. And then honestly, looking at all this, let's say they are 100% right. Let's say the defense, in looking at this, they've used their magic decoder ring and looked at this, and they have cracked the code on juror number 1. Let's say that everything they say is true, if it is, that he was sending a secret code, and this is what he thinks. Is he not allowed to form an opinion about things as they happen? Is he not allowed? Is he not told in the jury instructions that he can give each witness's testimony the credit he thinks it's due? That he can accept all or part or none of it? This is, he literally, his job is to listen to form an opinion. He's not deliberating with the other jurors. He's not breaking the rules. It's not that you have to sit there throughout the entire court long, right? And just take everything in and just, no, I'm not going to, that sounds outlandish. Oh, I can't do that. I just have to accept everything and just hold it in my brain, in my giant, great blue head. And then at the last minute, now I can start weighing things and sort it out. No, they form opinions throughout the case. That is why they're there. That's why they listen. That's why they're asking questions and getting answers. Even if it's true, it's too late. And I don't think it would make a difference. It wouldn't make a difference. Who cares what he thinks about Sally Smith? He listened to the testimony. He asked insightful questions. He reached a conclusion that he's allowed to reach, and did so. And 11 other people agreed with him. All right. I'm done. All right. The only thing that would have made the defense's motion, and I think it would have been appropriate for the motion, but it would have made it complete in my book, is if they had filed the whole thing in Comic Sans Serif font. That would, for me, that would have been the finishing touch on a comedic piece of garbage. That would just be epic in its failureness, if that's a word. All right, read aloud. All is my opinion. This is all my opinion. As I've told you before, I have zero evidence that anything went wrong on either side. I have zero evidence that the attorneys on either side did anything wrong as to the law. That's the judge's position. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just an outsider who's viewing this as many outsiders did, and I think he's viewing it in the same way that the jury viewed this. when they heard what the defense had to offer, they heard what the testimony was presented in the case, and they weighed everything, they measured it, and they found it wanting. And they sided with the Kowalskis. That's what I think. All right. Unfortunately, yes, they have to follow a certain font required by the court. I know, but the court, I don't think in any place should accept. Oh, okay. We'll move on. We'll move on. Blondie says, I know it might come as a shock to the defense, but you can dislike a witness and yet still be completely unbiased about a case during proceedings. Yeah. What's the line? What's the movie from this line, right? You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting. Name that quote as we're doing movie references. Knight's Tale. Boom, boom. Duchess, you were first. Good job. What's in that same movie? What's it called when you're just going for a walk? You remember there's a point where a gentleman is just going for a walk. He happens to be doing it in the buff, but just going for a walk. What's the term he uses for that walk in A Knight's Tale? Somebody help me out. A stroll? Does he call it a stroll? I thought there was a different term. Was it a jaunt or a... You've got to help me here. Yes, a stroll. I'm going for a stroll. Trudging. I'm trudging. I'm going to trudge down to Florida really quickly. I'll wear more clothes, but I'm going to trudge down to Florida, and I can't wait to to watch what's going. Stroll down. Anyway, okay. That being said, let's switch gears just a little bit and go all the way over here to the Sarah Boone trial, because the trial is coming up quickly, and as far as we can tell, it looks to be on schedule, but possibly there's one little hiccup, right? Let me go full screen on this, change the view to be, is it going to be continuous? Oh, it's only 2 pages, so I think I can do it. Get rid of the, where's my sidebar? Why is the rum gone? Come on. Oh, there it is. Okay, fixed it. There we go. Tech is hard, guys. Tech is hard. Okay, we're gonna bring this up because in the Sarah Boone trial, this is the case of Sarah Boone, where she is accused of causing her boyfriend to no longer be with us, and it involved a suitcase, involved a game supposedly, and a zipper, and the zipper was openable from the outside. He was on the inside, and they were playing a game. He was supposed to hide in there because they were playing hide and seek, and then he was supposed to jump out and come find her in their tiny 2-bedroom condo, and he didn't, and she just thought he fell asleep or just was doing something else. Left him in the suitcase, and in the morning he was dead. Awful. It is an awful situation. If that story was all there was to it, it would be tragic. It would be sad. I think she would still be guilty, but there was more, because after he got in the suitcase and it was zipped shut, Sarah Boone got out her phone and started filming as he was begging for release, begging for air, begging her to let him out.
Bronson just sent a super
and
sticker with
she filmed it, and she kept it on her phone, and the police found it. And that looks like motive, guys. That looks like intent. But she says it's unintentional. But here's what happened. She's been going to court and trying to go to trial so she can have her day in court and have her tell her story, because she believes that once people hear that it was unintentional, they will side with her and not find her guilty of this and return her to her regular life. She's had trouble with her lawyers, and it's been a struggle. And I feel for her, honestly. I'm not kidding here. Everyone deserves a good defense, a lawyer who will put up a good defense and try to help you out in your situation. Whether it's to help you prove that you are innocent if you are, or to make sure the state has done everything they have to prove that you are guilty. I think that everyone's entitled to that. She's been through a lot of lawyers. Some were excused because they had handled her or her boyfriend cases in the past where they had both been involved in I think some mutual domestic situations. Some were had to be one had to be excused because one of the potential witnesses in the trial was a client of his. Some just said, "Look, we can't work together," and they got excused. But she's been through 5, 6. What is she on? 7? Her 7th lawyer, and it's caused a lot of delays. And along the way, she alleges that much of her work product, her notes, have gone missing. That they never just made the jump from one lawyer to another. That is a problem for me. I do think she has some legitimate concerns that should be raised. That being said, I also think she's just a little bit crazy, because to me it seems crazy to say that you intentionally zip someone into a suitcase and didn't mean to kill them with the evidence that we have, what we've seen. Can we collectively buy and pick up an audiobook that Recovery Addict has to listen to on the way to Florida? What book is 11 hours long that wouldn't put me to sleep? Anyway, so we have this last motion. This last motion is a good one because she's asking for the appointment to reappoint, the private investigator, and a motion to incur additional costs and charges for the private investigator. The private investigator, you think, who would she hire, right? She's got to get some top-notch, somebody top shelf. Right? You really can't go cheap in cases like this where literally the rest of your life is on the line. So she dug deep and she found prison break investigations. We've done a live stream about prison break investigations. I gave him a really hard time. Is it because his logo? You talk about S's being used from something else. His logo was used from something else. His logo for his company was used from Prison Break, the movie or the series, the TV show. Like exact same thing. Prison Break, he just adds investigations underneath and calls it good. So it's funny. He works out of a shared workspace. I think is what we saw before. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but it's a team of one, and the guy just seems like I think he might have a lot of time on his hands. He might have a lot of time, meaning he might not have a lot of other clients right now. Now that's not saying he's not a good investigator, but according to this document and the numbers that they put forward in here, it would seem that they expect their investigator to work about 140 hours in the next 4 weeks on their case. So maybe all the rest of his workload is lesser precedence. So motion to repont private investigator and motion to incur additional costs and charges for the private investigator comes now to the defendant by and through the undersigned attorney, and respectfully requests this honorable court to enter order of reappointment of private investigator and authorize the incurring of investigative costs, stating the following in support thereof. So we're saying we want a private investigator. This is why. And we think that the court has to pay for it because realize she has a court-appointed attorney. So she is not paying out of pocket for her defense. In her letters, she's referenced this saying, hey, I paid for this because I pay taxes. But she will not get a bill at the end of trial or at the end of the month or the end of the year where the lawyer says, here's how much you owe so far, and this is what you owe me. And that comes out of the public dime. The defendant is charged with second-degree murder. The defendant has previously been determined to be indigent, meaning she can't afford her own attorney. Are you guys able? I wasn't sure if I'd shown you the document. There you go. Let me get this off the screen. The defendant has previously been determined to be indigent. The undersigned was appointed by the court to represent the defendant. So he says, the undersigned, the attorney, was assigned to this case. On February 15th, an order was signed for Lewis Aaron Associates Incorporated to provide private investigative services. The defense is requesting that Prison Break Investigation be reappointed back as the private investigative agency assigned to work this case. We want the other guy. We want Prison Break. He likes us. The defense requires the additional assistance of a private investigator to assist in preparing the defense of this matter, including, but not limited to, interviewing and locating witnesses, locating documents, performing background checks, and researching factual issues at the established rate for investigative costs of $50 per hour with a maximum of $7,500. That's an additional 150 hours. I said 140. I was off by 10. This is a request that's going to be heard by the court, like probably very soon, and they want this to happen. The court starts January 29th. Okay, so all this work has to happen between now and then. There was something else in here I wanted to bring out. I forgot where it was. It'll come back to me. The Undersigned Counsel has also determined that Prison Break investigations, investigator Billy Lane's presence is necessary for his assistance during the upcoming trial. You know where Billy Lane came from? It wasn't from her lawyer. I think if we look back to the letters, we'll see that Sarah Boone found him herself and reached out to him, wrote a letter saying, "Dear Billy Lane, I found you on the internet or whatever, and I need you to take my case." And he jumped in. He sent a letter back. She got a response, and she said, "He's my private investigator." Boom. And she's sticking with him. Investigator Billy Lane not located in the 9th Judicial Circuit, and counsel would also request that reimbursement be granted to Investigator Billy Lane for lodging expenses and per diem during the trial period at the current rates authorized by the JACH. So she said, we need this guy. He's the only one who can help us. And he doesn't live in the area. So we also need you to pay for his hotel and his food and, the expenses of living here. So can you just include that in the bill, at the public's time? The anticipated costs at this time include the service of subpoenas in the statutory amount, court reporter appearance fee, and investigative fees in the statutory amount, and deposition and hearing transcripts as needed in the statutory amount. The defendant is not seeking to exceed the statutory cap on any of the above due process costs. Wherefore, the defendant requests this honorable court grant this motion and find the defendant indigent for purposes of costs only. Respectfully submitted, Winston H. Hobson. Oh man, look at that font. Look at that font. Is that a hard S on the top, hard angle on the S, and a soft one on the bottom? Just saying, guys. Just saying. He's in Florida too. All right, so that's it. They're asking for this attorney, or the attorney is asking for this investigator to be reassigned to the case. They're asking for about $7,500 to pay for his costs for the work he's going to do, because apparently only he can do it, and he's out of the area. It's going to cost a little bit more. It's going to cost a little bit more to get this done. Happy Hippie, thank you very much. Appreciate the super chat. Florida Fund, have a safe trip. I sure will. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Let me go back here. Where else are we at? There's something in the Florida record. Let me see if I can bring this up here. That came to light. Who was it? Was it Greeners that pointed this out? Greeners, I give you credit for a lot of things people do, because you do things the same that they do. Let's go back here really quickly. This is the Florida Orange County Clerk of Court. This is the record search. If we're looking up the Sarah Boone case, this is it. The judge here on the case header is Wayne C. Wooten. Judge Wooten has been on this case for quite a while. Welcome, Ben. Welcome to the gallery. Good to have you as a member. Thanks for your support. Judge Wooten has been on this case for quite a while, and he's looked into this, and we can scroll down through this. But when we get down to the let's see, the docket, where is it at? I have to make it full screen because my eyes just can't see that. Let's go down. Let's see. Here we go. Look right here. This is the docket of events, right? So everything that's happened, like the document we just read, that was 2 pages to repont the private investigator and motion to incur additional costs and charges for the private investigator. Above that, we have the hearing for January 16th, pretrial conference, and the trial date. So there's going to be a pretrial meeting on the 16th where they say, is everything on board? Are we good to go? And then on the 29th, that's when the jury trial starts. But it has a different name for the judge. Instead of Wayne C. Wooten, we're now seeing Michael S. Kranick. And I'm not sure if that was because that he handled something and it just, or what, but I think that means we might have a new judge on the case. Might be a new judge. So we're not going to read too much into that, but just be aware it might not be Judge Wooten when this actually goes to trial. All right. Now where are we? We're back in the studio. We made a quick trip down to Florida and back, so we're like what we're going to do this weekend. All right. I've missed chat a little bit. Any questions? I'll tell you this. If I do an audiobook, I will not be able to live stream audio because the audiobook would not be allowed to be shared. Amber just called in on the phone. How are you doing, Amber?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the sign.
I have one thing to say.
What's that?
Nanny, nanny, boo boo. That's what you get for timing me out.
I did time you out. Amber's one of my mods, and she was giving me a hard time about taking my wife's clothes out of the dryer and putting mine in, and so she posted it as a mod message in chat that that Mrs. RA's clothes are in the dryer as a reminder, and I timed her out, and that's why she sent me the sign. That was funny, Amber. Thank you very much.
You're certainly welcome. I'm glad I can make everybody laugh.
Awesome. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Have a good day, y'all.
You too. Bye. All right. Let's see. I just typed lightning and my phone automatically shows me the emoji. Judge Boone is like, get me off this case, please. Yeah, it's like all the lawyers can do it. Why can't I? Why can't I? Let's see. Different Amber. Jules says, I'm back, but I heard everything. Jules, welcome. Good to have you here. All right, so quick reminder. This morning, we've gone over the latest filing from the plaintiff on the motion in response to the second supplemental filing against juror number 1 by the defense. That's going to be included in the hearing that happens on Friday. Is the discussion, the arguments can be heard on that. We also went over the Sarah Boone letter, and that's coming up. Sarah Boone's hearing, a trial date set for the 29th of January, so right at the end of January is supposed to begin. If that holds, it will probably go a week, maybe 2 at the most. I don't see, even though this is a big case tension-wise, I don't see it being a big case factually. The number of witnesses are probably going to be fairly low. There are going to be some experts, most likely, but I don't see this being something that drags on, like Alex Murdaugh's financial crimes type thing. So it's probably going to be a shorter case, much more like what we just watched with Hannah Payne, which I have to tell you, I still, it doesn't sit right with me. I struggle with that, and it was difficult last night thinking that over. I felt that she had been overcharged. I think that was probably the best way to say that. And I realized there's some people in here who are saying that was 100% justice. And in doing that, in weighing the opinion of many people who've shared that, and thank you for doing that, by the way. I appreciate you guys sharing the opinion, saying this was justice served. It was, she finally got, she learned her lesson. It's a hard lesson, but she needed to learn it. In weighing that and weighing my own opinions and how I felt, I looked back and I said, okay, when have I felt this before? And I think probably the closest we came was with Aaron Dean. I also felt that was too much a little bit. Aaron Dean was the police officer who shot Tatiana Jefferson through the window. Tragic situation. I think I just don't see yeah. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people are saying justice served, and so I'm trying to view that, and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes and see how that works, and I can see it a little bit, but I also could see that possibly that this is how many people felt when I came out 100% in Zachariah Anderson's case and said I sent it to the jury. I think they got it right, and so many people said, hashtag free Zachariah Anderson. And we had his brother on. We interviewed Solomon on the channel, and he was amazing. It was amazing of him, first of all, to come on knowing that I was against his brother. It was incredible, and it just made me stop and think. And I like to think, as we all do, we like to sit here and say we could be a juror, right? I could go into a courtroom and be completely unbiased and just hear everything initially for the first time, and I have to question myself and see, am I truly unbiased on these? And that's like the mental gymnastics that I'm jumping through to try to rethink and figure out if I came in because in this situation, in the case of Hannah Payne, I have been in a not the similar situation, but I've had some similar facts that have lined up in my life. I was fairly young when I first got a permit to carry. I wasn't 21. I think I was in my early 20s when I had a permit to carry a concealed weapon. So I've been through that part. I know a lot about the mentally what I went through. Now I did not just get a permit, get a gun, and go and do it. I got authorized for my permit, and I waited 1 year, even though I had a letter from the constable. I think it was a constable or a sheriff or something, authorizing me to jump ahead and get my permit issued immediately. I had that letter in hand. I waited a year after deciding I was going to get a permit. knowing that I was supposed to get it for my safety, because I wanted to make sure I was never be in a situation or that would, escalate to something, that I could control myself in all those situations. And I watched my behavior and actions and where I went and what I would do for a year before I felt okay proceeding with that. So it was a year from when I was authorized to when I did carry a concealed weapon. She didn't do that. She'd owned a gun for a week or two, maybe. Hey, Mrs. R.A. You have to go over there? I'll go over here if that helps. Anyway, where's Zachariah now? Zachariah is serving a life sentence right now, Meanie Banana, and his team, his family, and a lot of supporters are working to put together an appeal to give him a chance to get out.
Kelly.
Hey, is it Kelly or Callie? I couldn't hear her.
Kelly.
Callie. Okay, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Great.
So I just have to ask with the Hannah Payne trial, because I followed it, but definitely not as I missed a few things here or there. Did they ever explain why a swab wasn't taken from the trigger?
They didn't, and if there was any test that would be done on the trigger, it would have been DNA. It would not have been a fingerprint. It's like trying to get a fingerprint from the sharp point of a pencil. It's not the material that would collect a print. But it is very possible, because it is sharp edges, just like the textured portion of the slide that they swabbed. It would be very possible to have DNA there. It would be very expected to see Hannah's DNA. But
right, and if you also saw, the victim. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. I mean, that bothers
Mr.
me.
Herring.
Right. It really it's driving me up the wall that was not done. That they did the top of the gun, but not the actual trigger. Because if he shot himself, his DNA should be on there. I feel like that could have answered, that really could have answered so many questions with this trial, which I'm kind of with you. I'm in the same camp as you. I'm shocked. I was shocked at just all the way guilty. I really thought she was overcharged. I didn't, I don't know that the burden of proof was met beyond a reasonable doubt. I really can't. I'm not seeing it. But that has been driving me nuts. Like, why wouldn't they swab the trigger?
Yeah,
of all places.
It seems. I mean, that, and this might be hindsight, right? We're at the time. I'm not sure if the crime lab doesn't go through the interviews and say, okay, let's hear what the story was and what we should swab. They said there was a struggle over the gun. Okay, and initially she said that her finger was on the trigger. Okay, that's the first story they told. So maybe that would be why they didn't. But
okay,
but
yeah. So she didn't say that he shot himself, that he shot himself with her gun initially.
Well, depends what's initially. And the very first time we heard her story was while she was on the phone with the dispatcher, and that time she did say that he just shot himself with my gun. Okay, he pulled the trigger on my gun or something like that. That was on there. When she went to the police station, just an hour or two later, she told the story that her hand was on the trigger and his finger was also in the trigger, and in the struggle and the back and forth of him pulling, then the gun sort of went off.
Right, and that's a completely different than what she said.
Yeah,
in her testimony, right?
Testimony was her finger was never in the trigger guard. The trigger guard's that hard plastic piece that surrounds the trigger so that it can't be pulled. Something can't just bump up against the gun and pull the trigger. It has to be inside the trigger hole to pull that trigger back.
Yeah.
And she says my finger was alongside it. It was never there where it would pull the trigger.
Yeah. Even still with that, there was a struggle over it. My finger was on, even saying that's the police then, okay, if there was a struggle and you're not sure, who, if this was an accident, if she did it or if he, I still cannot wrap my head around not swabbing that part of the gun. I really don't.
Well,
I don't get it.
Kai here in chat says the defense didn't have it tested and she's absolutely fairly convicted. Now that's an argument that we've heard in other cases, that the defense, I believe, has the right to have objects tested as well.
Yeah. So I was going to say to you, I think she has a good shot at an appeal. One on possibly on, ineffective or incompetent counsel, just for so many reasons, but also, on like a medical basis, but on that he missed out on. I mean, if that was ultimately his call, the defense's call, and he missed out on that, I mean, that's pretty huge. But more so to that video, I was shocked that the judge allowed the body cam of the police officer who was trying to assist him in the car. I thought that was so prejudicial.
Yeah, and it slid by me first. My wife actually called it out and said, I think that was more prejudicial. I'm thinking, no, that's the scene of the crime. How could you not include that? But you've got 5 seconds at the beginning that Hannah's in, and then everything
Literally.
after that was the result of what she'd done. And it didn't provide any factual evidence as to what happened, because there's nothing we gained by looking at the video and saying, oh, now I understand. This was in the car. Or this was positioned. There was no evidence. It was just, we're hearing someone die. And that was it.
Right.
And that was tough. It was very difficult. And my heart goes out to the victim's family, everybody. That is terrible.
Absolutely.
Terrible to have captured on camera, or to just imagine that it occurred even without somebody capturing it. It's awful. The whole situation is awful. But I do think that it was prejudicial.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not saying at all that she was right to do, that was it a huge mistake, and just, I think convict her on the audacity of it. Like, just wild. But I definitely think she was overcharged. I don't know. I can't. And the fact that that I couldn't believe when the state rested, and I was like 75 to 80% of their case was eyewitness testimony, which is like the most unreliable piece of evidence. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine the day back before we had video cameras and tape recordings and cell phone pings and things? This is all they had, right? And we had years and years of courts where this is all there was. It was he said, she said, and the jury has to make a decision. So at least it was better than that. And but still, for me, it's still tough. I'm still weighing this over in my head. I think I think you're right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think you're right about a possibility for appeal. I think it's there. I don't know if it's going to be for ineffective counsel. I didn't like his style, but I don't think that he was just completely lacking. I think he missed objections. And
the speaking objections was not his strong point at all.
It seemed like he was like an out of town attorney who didn't understand how it works there. And so his style didn't match up with the court, and it sort of, there might have been some friction there at some point earlier on, and it sort of carried on through the trial, which is, I think, a problem.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, his style of question, I mean, he was pretty hostile towards the eyewitnesses, towards pretty much everyone the state put up. And I don't think that played out well with the jury. And I also, it was so strange to see her, like, you're on trial for a sentence that life without parole, and it's one attorney and her basically as his paralegal. And I don't think that looked great either, because some of the, like it or not, optics is a part of, there is like jury prep just for the optics of it, dressing, like how the defendant looks, all that. And I don't think any of that played out really well with the jury. I mean, that shouldn't be what they're convicting her on, but I don't think any of that helped. I mean, she kind of just had the same look on her face the whole time, like just very dismissive. I don't know.
I don't know. This may have been, because I believe this was not a court-appointed attorney. This is someone, you realize he showed up the first time when he either met her, the first time he appeared on the case was during her interrogation. He showed up and said, hey, I'm an attorney. I'd like to talk to her. Okay, so the family brought the attorney in, and then it might have been a cost issue. It might have been, we can afford one guy, but we can't afford two. We can't afford you and a paralegal. And so it might have been a decision they weighed that way. But having a second person who can just lean over and say, you got to catch that objection. When you're busy trying to, write your cross-examination questions, it's a lot for one person to do. It's a lot for one attorney, let alone the defendant, to catch all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that she was out on bail, and, it seemed like from what she said, was she was a property manager, and she kind of just started doing that right out of school. So that I kind of thought like, oh, like her family must own, some apartment buildings. So it seems like they have some money, especially even with just posting bail. So yeah, I was surprised at the one attorney and her really basically writing out the questions for him, like all of it. I mean, she did the work. Yeah. I will definitely definitely give her that.
It is common to see a defendant, writing notes and passing them to the lawyer.
Sure.
But we saw her filing evidence and shuffling through and
numbering exhibits,
plugging in monitors, and she was full on, working for that. Callie, thanks for your input. I've got another call coming in. They've been very patient. I think we've called it 20 times.
All right.
We'll take that one now.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Scott.
Callie. Bye.
Bye.
Call from Meanie Banana.
Hey, Meanie Banana. Thanks for your patience. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. What's on your mind?
I was just wondering, and I don't know if you are going to be live streaming Friday?
We have to sort out the details. I'm going to be streaming the court proceedings on my second channel, which is the Top Mark Media channel. And that's going to be what we call a clean feed, meaning it will just be the court, nothing else. No logos, no my face, no chat on the screen. It's going to be a clean feed. And then I may be able to, on my main channel, use that feed and have my face on it and give commentary. That's a possibility. I'm trying to take all the gear necessary to do that if the situation allows me to do that, and it just depends on what's there and what's happening in the room and if they allow me to do it. If that works, then I can do commentary as well.
Great.
There's also going to be some other people in LawTube and about that will be using my feed if we can get this to work properly, so that they'll use the clean feed and be watching it on their channel as well. So that's the goal. There are some other possibilities out there as well. We'll just have to see if everything lines up properly to see.
Oh, okay. Okay. And my only other comment is I've always told my kids since they were young, and this is paranoid, but if the police ever pull you over or want to question you, always ask for your lawyer and don't say a word.
Yeah. Name, rank, and serial number, and that's all you give out, right? So.
Yeah, I always told them that. I said, especially if you're innocent, tell them you want a lawyer.
Yep. That's true. Great questions, Meanie Banana. So hopefully everything works out great, and we're live on the channel as well on Friday. That would be awesome if we can make that happen. But either way, we're gonna get there. We're gonna have this case live streamed and be able to share it with you. So.
And tell Dr. Goodhair that I said hi.
All right, will do. I think he's gonna be on live today. I think he's doing a Q&A. I think it's a Q&A for members. I think he's got his membership just set up on his channel, so he's doing just an open Q&A for members. And that's common to do a members only chat that way. It might be open to everybody.
I'm a member. I joined him. Yeah, right away. I joined him, and the station that you sent us over to yesterday had free Zachariah Anderson as a banner all across the bottom. Yep. I was howling.
They've been big on that. And I'm in the minority, I think, as far as that goes, when it comes to a lot of the channels, LawTube adjacent or LawTube related. But that's awesome. Meanie Banana, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.
Yep,
Bye.
We'll see you. Bye. You guys, I've got to tell you this. I just got a package. This is the last package I needed before the weekend. I ordered what's called an SDI cable. I needed this cable. This is 25 feet. It helps if I show it this way. It's a 25-foot cable that has the connectors that allow me to plug in to the panel to get the live stream. So this plugs into my live view, and the other one plugs into the wall of the distribution box. So I get the live stream. This had to arrive today, and it did. And I also ordered a barrel connector so I can put two of these cables together if I needed to. I ordered one of them. Okay, I ordered one barrel connector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a case of barrel connectors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 of them. I got a special 10 for 1 deal on barrel connectors, so I'm going to have to call and let them know they gifted me 9 extras. I think Ivan has some information on Zachariah Anderson.
Mr. Ivan.
Ivan, how are you doing, my friend?
Hi, I got a quick call. When people were bringing up Zachariah Anderson, I decided to take a peek at his DOC inmate locator.
Yes.
Just to see if he had been moved from Dodge, which I've explained is the receiving prison that everybody goes through. Well, it turns out he was transferred to what's called the Wisconsin Secure Programs Facility. Now, it was originally called the Supermax Correctional Institution. It is by far the most locked down institution in the state. And normally, you don't get staff there right from Dodge unless you have caused some kind of a ruckus or some kind of significant disturbance at the facility you were at.
Is it also possible that would be selected for your own safety? Is that if you're a high risk inmate because of something else?
You don't really get that kind of luxury because they have protective custody in every max and every prison in the state as it is. So normally you don't get sent to Boscobel, which is where that is, unless something else has happened. Now maybe he was getting significant threats and they just decided not to move him there, but something would have had to have happened for him to go directly from Dodge to Boscobel. You don't just get staff there, like especially with somebody who technically doesn't have life. You know, he is eligible at 88 or whatever. We figured it out, and so you wouldn't go directly there from Dodge from receiving. It just doesn't happen that way because they have.
I don't know. I haven't heard of anything that would be this. I think he's been fairly in fairly good communication with his family. And so we'd probably be able to hear if something had happened.
Sure, and like you said, it could be a safety thing, but if you go and look at the population, I remember how I had posted once that every single prison in the state is overbooked and people sleep on floors and everything else. If you go take a look at the Wikipedia for this facility, it has a capacity of only 500, and as of November of last year, it was only at 372. So meaning it's the only prison in the state where it is under capacity, and so that's significant.
Maybe that was just for that reason. There was space there because
you got to realize this facility, you don't even get letters. They read your letters over a monitor. You don't get, you know what I mean? Like all your visits are, there are no, like in prison, you get face-to-face visits. You get to hug your family. And so the Wisconsin Secure Facility is, nobody wants to be there. Because whether you're there for your safety, whether you're there for your, because you caused some kind of disturbance somewhere else, because the restrictions are so locked down, it makes your time 10 times harder. So it's interesting to me. I'm not saying anything did happen, but in my experience, people who ended up going to Boscobel, something happened. Like there was a reason for it, and so whatever that reason was, I have no idea. But you weren't allowed anything. You weren't allowed hardly the bare minimum in your cell. If you get mail, they put them on a screen and you get to go to a room. At one time they have a shower on wheels. They wheel the phone to your cell. You never get out of your cell. And so
let me say this. I've told you that I supported the verdict and I said that from the get-go, but I'll say this. If he didn't do anything, if there was no incident, if he just got placed there, I'm not a fan of that. Me neither. If the justice system is just punishing him because they can, or if somebody had the ability to reroute him to where they thought he should belong, where I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And
even if it's just because there's nowhere else to put him, I'm not okay with that either. Because like I said, they wheeled the shower on wheels. Down to cells, and then you never get out.
But correct me if I'm wrong. We didn't hear anything about him getting into fights in the jail when he was in the jail, or we didn't hear anything. There was no bad behavior while he was initially in there.
If you look at his movement detail on the offender detail list on the Wisconsin DOC, it goes it says admitted new inmate, and then he went out to court, and then he returned from court, and then he was transferred to another facility. And then he was received from Dodge into the Wisconsin Secure Program Facility on 7/24 of this year. So I don't know if it was for.
I don't believe you should put people in Supermax unless they belong in the Supermax, right? I don't think a supermax, especially someone who has a possibility of parole, right? This is somebody who will be, in much high likelihood, at some point will be returned to society. If anything, our correction system should be doing things and enabling them to get the correction they need. If we just punish someone for the full term of their sentence and then release them, how does that just add to the recidivism rate and get somebody to just, out through the circle door and back in again because they're not ready to come out. They're not ready to handle the...
No, there is a likelihood that the modality there has changed and the programming there has changed at basketball in the 10 years that I have, been out. But when I was there, that was the one place you did not want to go. Even worse than Max, because I did my whole time at Max, and even for Max prisoners, it was not where you wanted to be, because there is literally you have no freedoms. Like, you can't even, like I said, they'll wheel the phone down once a week. So it'd be interesting to hear from his family on why that isn't.
I'd also like to hear. I mean, I don't have the direct connection. I know some of the people in chat are more closely related to connected to Solomon and the family. I'd love to hear if that's what happened there. If there was something that happened, what was that? What's the situation there? And also, what is his experience right now? What is his day to day like? Is it like a supermax? Because you shouldn't be a supermax if you don't need it. We've got another call coming in. Ivan, I got to let you go. Thanks for the update. Bye. Oh, and it dropped right as I did that. So I'm sorry, I was too late. So the Zachariah Anderson trial was the trial in which the judge played our live stream during court on the live. That was bizarre. That was crazy. I think Iked just the other day had a very similar situation where he was basically called out in court by in a trial that he's following as well. But I think he got served with a. I'm going off Tayo Toy's feed, Twitter feed, because I didn't see this actually happen. So correct me if I'm wrong, Tayo, Phil. He got served with a C&D, cease and desist, for something he had posted, and they said, we don't want you doing that. I don't know if there was anything wrong with it at all. I don't know the facts. I don't even know who was involved. But then after it was served, in court they used the thumbnail for his video as evidence and put it up, and like they used his picture. Was strange. So he's in that same little weird world that I found myself into when the judge suddenly, puts you in the courtroom. All right, we have another call coming in. Let's see who's on the phone.
Call from
Midwest Trans Health Advocacy Network.
Hello. I think your name's actually shorter than what I heard.
Oh, hi. My name is Maya. I'm calling again.
Yes, Maya. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to say I really appreciated the really short kind of stream yesterday about the verdict. I could tell that you needed some time to kind of process, and honestly, I kind of did too. And I think it was good to kind of take a minute and really mull over everything. I honestly didn't think that the jury was going to come down the way that they did. I think there was doubt, but I don't know if it was reasonable doubt, And I also wanted to share kind of a thought exercise I do with these sorts of trials.
Yeah, please.
There were people talking about why didn't they swab the trigger? I personally don't think that it would have made a huge difference, because if he could have touched it and not pulled the trigger, and there would be DN on it, So, but given, if he did somehow get his hand in such a way that he could have triggered it, then let's take it a step back then. So the whole reason why the gun was drawn was because she felt threatened by him, and me being a black person and hearing old black people be like, "Oh, I'll give you something to." I've heard that a couple times. I'll give you something to, cry about. That that's not what he said. I forget exactly what he said.
I've got something for you, or something like that.
Yeah,
I never heard that in a recording. I think we only heard that from Hannah. So I don't know how to take the tone that she said it in. Is that how it was said, or was that what was said even?
Yeah, and again, like even if say he did say that, given the information that we know that he's not in his right state of mind, and we know that she says she saw him reaching back. Again, nobody else saw him reaching back, but say he was reaching back for something. For me, and I'm only a few years older than Hannah. I'll also say I'm 27. Currently, she's 25. At the time, she was like 21. I can say that for me as a person, if a drunk black man was like making some threats to me and reaching back for something, I would just step back from the car and out of his range, his arm's reach. You know, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, you know, kind of doing that. Like, so say such and such thing was true, what I have done, and then what kind of get into Hannah's mindset as like a younger, you know, maybe she's less familiar with like how older black men tend to be, especially when they're drunk. Maybe she was like genuinely concerned. Why would she, how motivated and what kind of state of mind would she have to be to actually like load the gun to be prepared to fire? And like with her training or lack thereof, like taking all that into consideration kind of, I think, helps build the mindset that someone could potentially be in to make the decisions that they did in the heat of the moment. And doing that has kind of helped me like settle into like, you know, it's not, you could say that, you know, she's being a dumb 21-year-old and made a mistake, but accidents can still be crimes.
And there are consequences.
Accidents can still result in somebody dying. And I do like, I think it is I mean, I'm also like a prison abolitionist, so I don't really want anybody to go to jail or prison. Even when they murder people,
we might have to have that conversation sometime, because you know that's the side of this true crime world that we don't talk about a lot, and I have some strong feelings about prison, about how society treats people in prison, going to prison, what we find acceptable as treatment in prison.
Exactly.
Everyone's like, oh, they're going to get what's coming for them in prison. I have such an issue with this.
Awful.
And also how we treat people after they've come out, after they've paid their debt to society.
Oh, exactly.
And how we tie their hands behind their back and then tell them they're supposed to be able to, you know, swing from the trees with the greatest of ease. There are lots of things that we'd like to talk about, and we'll have to maybe do a whole show, maybe invite you on there for that one.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Send me a message to the burner phone.
That's just what I wanted to share.
And we'll put a pin in that one. But thank you, Maya. I appreciate that. Thank you for your insight. This has really caused me to reflect and try to see it from the other viewpoint. And I'm seeing some of it. Honestly, I'm seeing more now than I did yesterday.
Good.
I can see where somebody could look at this and say, I see malice. Okay. She racked the gun, right? Is that intent? That's intent. He doesn't know it's not loaded, right? But nobody looking at a semi-automatic handgun can tell if it's loaded or not, unless you're looking very closely. Very few guns have a little tiny indicator, and it's like a pencil width wide indicator to show if there's a cartridge in the chamber. In the heat of the moment, every gun is loaded. Okay, it's a gun.
Right,
it's loaded,
exactly.
right? So he doesn't know that. So racking the slide, that shows that she knows it's not loaded and she wants it loaded. That could be malice. Her language to him in the car, get out of the blanket car. That could show malice, and I can see that, and that's where you know if she instigated and did those things, it's a fine line. But I will tell you, in my heart of hearts, I do not think there was a shred of malice in her heart when she was following him. I think that her on the phone. That there was not in her mind. I don't think that she was even thinking, I've got a gun and I can catch this guy. I don't think that registered until her interaction at the car. But even if it was just momentary,
I think when she thought he bumped her car was when something snapped. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Maya. I appreciate it.
Great stream.
You've always got some great comments. Call anytime. Appreciate you. We'll see you. Bye. Georgia, I disagree. That's cool. I'm Georgina. Sorry, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I will tell you that today I am more okay with the verdict than I was yesterday, and I'm just trying to view it from other people's viewpoint and see what they saw, and it's making a little bit more sense. It's still a little difficult. I still feel that it was overcharged, only because I saw she made some poor decisions, but what I heard from her voice, what we heard in the recording in the moment from her behavior as she's standing around, she's just there to witness. She's not getting involved in the first traffic scene for 20 minutes. She didn't even talk to the guy. She's like, I'm just here. I watched it. I just have to fill out the report. Just here to help. And then suddenly things spin up and she's still just there to help. I think she, in her naivety, interjected herself in a situation where her actions were definitely viewed as threatening, which by the law would show instigation, and that's where it's. I mean, it's a fine line. She literally went from the Good Samaritan to instigator in very, very little time in my mind. Overcharged, but she is guilty, says Maddie. I find it telling it happened just 1 to 2 weeks after getting a gun, wanting to be a police officer. There's a lot there. Choices have consequences. Yep, I appreciate all you guys having differing opinions and even strongly held opinions and being able to share them respectfully in chat. That is what makes this community wonderful. That's what makes it so that I can learn from you guys, because oftentimes I am wrong. And you guys sharing your thoughtful opinions and reasoning on things has been very enlightening for me. Judy, this is a hard one. Compare what her sentence, life without parole, to what others have done for the same sentence. That is hard because from state to state, the rules are so different. And you see some people who commit a crime and even plead guilty to it, and, even show no remorse. Yeah, I did it. What are you going to do? Throw the book at me. And they get like 5 years or a slap on the wrist. And somebody else who seems to do a lesser crime ends up getting a massive sentence. It's hard to compare because very few trials are like apples to apples. There are very few scenarios where you can say everything's the same. Let's just weigh these two together and which one was excessive. Let's see. That said, I think we're going to wrap up our live stream today and have an early lunch. I've got to go get a rental car. I've got to load up for Florida. We are going to Florida. I'll be driving all day tomorrow. If I live stream, I can't listen to any music. I can't listen to anything copyright because that would get me a strike on the channel. But let's do a poll really quickly. Let's do a quick poll. The poll says this: would you want to watch the drive from North Carolina to Florida? It's a long drive. The only reason I ask this is because there are a lot of people on the channel who either live in another part of the country and have not visited here, or from another country and have not seen any of the countryside. And I realize this drive is not going to be driving through gorgeous canyons, mountain ranges, past picturesque waterfalls and beautiful beaches. We'll get some beautiful beaches possibly. I don't think the route really goes right next to them, but we'll be within a few miles of the ocean. But it is a part of the country that I've never been to, and I'm at least on the ground like this, and I'd love to see it. I think it's very green, at least for the first long ways. You'll get to see a lot of, if you're only familiar with out west in the United States, there's a lot of open space, and yeah, there are areas that have a lot of trees, but a lot of areas that are just grass and desert, and out here you can drive through forest for, it seems like, forever, and farmlands and just it's unique that way. But I'm just worried that I'm going to be talking to myself, and yeah, it's just going to be interesting. So long as you narrate for all the bad drivers on the road. This might be how I stay entertained on the trip. Sharis, let me tell you what it would consist of. I would not be able to see any quotes. I would not be able to see any chat. I would not be able to watch any screen or feedback or even know if it was working. I have all the equipment that I could set up, basically a dash cam in my car, and it would record the whole trip, and it would record it on YouTube live. That's all it is. I first, before I do this, also I'll put in a little qualifier. I need to make sure that it is legal in every state that I will be driving through. That is North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida to do that, and we'll go from there. But we'll end the poll. So 2/3 are saying yes. We'll see. No, safety first. The poll is a blank white screen. I don't know why it does that, Mimi. Oftentimes the polls are not working for people. I think it's an update YouTube did. Focus on driving. I-95 is dangerous. All right. Will I be driving over the area, like the bridge where Gannon was? Is that the route? Wasn't she on I-95? I'm not sure if that's the same place or not. The storm chasers who live stream do that, right? I'm not a storm chaser, and a lot of times those storm chasers have multiple people in the vehicle to run different equipment. Yes. Rent a Tesla so it can drive for you. I'm not that rich. I can't afford that. Amber.
Hey.
Amber. Ivan says I need to rent a Tesla. Can you weigh in on that one? I don't think you can rent a Tesla here. I'm in North Carolina.
Well, Teslas are possible to rent, but I don't know what the hype would really be. I'm more old school mechanics and turn my own wrenches on my own vehicles.
You're thinking like a hard body Ford?
I mean, I have a 93 Bronco and a 94 Mustang in my garage. So, I mean,
we need pictures. Okay.
little plug about me, my own mechanic. So you had just said something about Letitia Stout and the bridge for Gannon. So that was closer to like the Pensacola area, if memory serves. She did travel 95 coming back up from Florida to get to Myrtle Beach. Yeah. Right. So I don't think, with the way you described your route, I don't believe you're going to be going that far west to see that bridge, because that's over on the Panhandle. Okay. You're not going that far over to see that bridge. Yeah, I'm
sure I'm going to be crossing some water in Florida, but I don't think I'll be on the Panhandle at all. I'm pretty much going down the East Coast until I get into Florida, and then sort of cutting diagonally across, and going around Tampa, sort of on the ring road outside Tampa a little bit, and down into Sarasota.
Yeah, you're not going to see that bridge at all. Yeah. At all. Okay. You might travel part of the route that she did to get back to Myrtle Beach, but you're not going to see that bridge.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Thank you.
And apparently everybody's saying make sure you hit every Buc-ee's on the way.
Hit every Buc-ee's? I'm going to need to redraw my map with Buc-ee's so I can schedule my gas stops at Buc-ee's.
Well, I see Annie Marie's comment unless RA gets lost. That's true, but let's not speak that into existence.
When have I gotten lost? I just have to drive south. That's it.
Well, that's true, but there's a little bit more to that than just driving south. We don't need you to land on no-name keys.
Yeah. Do I have any toll roads? Do you have toll roads in Florida? And
I know 95 has some toll roads, but I would have to look, to be honest with you. I was going to say something, but then I forgot. Annie kind of ruined my train of thought there, but I had to say something.
Well, I'll tell you, as far as the car,
I'll think of it until
the car I rented, it's not a battery powered car, because honestly, I don't have time to charge it. I just need to drive straight. I got the cheapest car I could that still says it has lane assist, cruise control, and all those fun things. So I think it's actually a nice car. It's either going to be like a Nissan, like Maxima, Altima, or they might even upgrade me to like the Audi A4 or the BMW S series or 3 Series. So it's in that range.
But you're like you're like lumberjack tall.
I'm going to sit in the car. I'm going to sit in the car. I'm lumberjack tall and wide, by the way. I have both features. But I have to sit in the car first just to see if I fit. And this is funny. We actually rented a car that we were looking at buying one, so we went and rented it so I could drive it and see if I liked it before we bought it. But
Yep, that's a good way to do that. And I remembered what I was going to say. It was a fun fact about me. I've never been to a Buc-ee's. I have no idea what Buc-ee's is all about. So I'm going to have to eventually, at some point, find my way to a Buc-ee's. And I travel quite a bit, and I've never even seen one.
If I see one, I'm stopping. Sharaz says it's going to be a Kia. Sharaz, if I get to the rental car place this afternoon and they have a Kia for me, I'm gonna pull up my phone. I'm gonna hit the Uber button, and I'm gonna book an Uber instead because I would rather Uber my way all the way to Florida than drive a Kia to Florida. I don't have anything against Kias. I realize they're economical cars, but everyone I have sat in seems a little bit like hell to me, and there was just something about it that was not comfortable. Whether it was the width, the height, the placement of things. Kia, love you. Feel free to sponsor the show, but also make a car that fits me. That's what I'm going to say. Oh, man. Amber.
Shameless plug.
Yep. A Chevy Spark. A Mini Cooper. Oh, my goodness. Mini Coopers, I think they're bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. I mean, those are, that's the car out of the Italian Job, right? The Mini Cooper?
The Mini Cooper, yeah. You can always take my 94 Mustang.
Yeah, could.
I'd let you drive it down.
But I can't afford the speeding tickets I would get.
I mean, it is also a standard stick shift.
I would love a standard. I wish they still made them. I think that was a rite of passage into adulthood, is to be able to shift. Be able to idle on a hill without using the brake. That's the thing. So
right. And see, all of my kids are going to learn how to drive a standard because that's going to be like their first car that they get to drive is my standard. Because then I know none of their friends can drive my car.
Awesome. Amber, thank you very much. Appreciate the offer. But we'll pass on the Mustang for now. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you.
All right, bye.
All right. Kias are much better now. I will say that I've never in my life bought a new car. By a new car, I mean, once I went to a dealership and bought a new car for my grandma. And this was after my grandpa had passed away, and she said, I need help. I'm looking for a new car. And can you come to the dealership? And I went and I helped. I sort of negotiated. I had no idea that my grandma was just going to write out a check for the car. I thought, I'm sitting there trying to find the best rate and, what's the payment, how much, and she's not answering any of the money questions. I'm like, this is the deal. You've got to go through the deal and figure out how much you can afford and what car. And she's more worried about, how the windows go up and down and how the trunk opens. I'm like, Grandma, at some point we've got to talk about the money. And they're like, so how would you like to finance it? she's like, well, I'd like to do it here. And I'm like, okay, so here's our finance guy. And she's like, all right, who do I make the check out to? So we bought one new car one time, but that was funny. Everything else we buy used always. So I've never bought a new car. So if Kia has made new cars in the last few years that are more roomy and comfy, I owe them my heartfelt apology. Thank you for taking me into consideration when you sized your vehicles. I am 6'2", so it's I'm a tall dude. Okay. All right, more grandma stories, please. My grandma was amazing. She really was. She played the organ, like church organ. She played the organ in church, and she had a full church organ at home in her house. And of course, it didn't have pipes, but she had massive. My grandpa had built these incredible speakers that were just enormous, and the sound was unbelievable. And so she would play the organ, and my grandpa would play the saw. And by saw, I mean like a zuba, cut wood type saw. So he'd take the saw and he'd put a little rod on the end of it and he'd bend it into an S shape. Probably no sharp corners on this one, just the edge. And then he'd play a violin bow on the back as he bent the saw into different shapes and bounced his leg to cause vibration, and it would resonate. And it's this haunting sounds that's just beautiful. And so she'd play the organ, he'd play the saw. And anyway, that's my grandpa story. Love them both. They've both passed, unfortunately. All right. Grandpa was an audio guy too. Yes, an inventor. He invented at one time. He He invented like an electric toilet flusher just because he could, I think. That he could hit a button and it would cycle this motion, and it was almost like a Rube Goldberg machine, in that it would turn the pulley, pull the chain, flush the toilet, and then reset, and it was all battery powered. As opposed to pushing the flusher. When are we going to break for lunch? We're going to break for lunch right now. Anyway, that's all. Did I answer all the questions? There's a Bucky in Florence, South Carolina, right off 95. I will watch for the sign. There better be a big sign to tell me where it is, because I don't want to miss it. All right. So here's I guess the long and short of this is this. Tomorrow I'm going to be driving. I may be able to go live a couple times along the drive and say, hey, here's where I'm at. I'll give you some updates, just a quick little where I'm refilling or fueling up, and you can plot my progress. I probably won't be live streaming the whole trip, because honestly, I'm worried that I'll break something of the equipment and we need to work on Friday. But we'll be safe on the drive either way. If you ever seen a theremin, you play it without touching it with your hands in the air. Rudy, yes. Okay, stop. Before we wrap things up, let me tell you my theremin story. A theremin looks like a metal rod in the air, if I remember this correctly. It uses an electrical field that is impacted by the presence of other objects that influence the electrical field, like your hands. And so you don't touch it, you just move your hands around it in different ways, and it resonates, and I think you pipe. It's sort of like a guitar plug, so you plug in music to it, so you play the piano and then also that. I think that's how I saw it played. So I'm filming a band, right? They've hired me as their cameraman. I'm filming this band, and the piano player has one of these theremin things attached on the side of his piano. And he's going and doing this huge solo. So what do I do as the cameraman? I get right in there to get the close-up. The close-up of the theremin. And so here I am with my hand and the camera and the lens right up next to the theremin. Well, what does that do? It changes what the theremin sounds like a lot. And so I completely butchered his solo because my camera was interfering with his musical instrument, even though I wasn't touching it. I thought the shot was amazing, but man, his frustration, I didn't get it. Yes, I did. I completely messed it up. And he went with it as much as he could, but yeah, it didn't sound good. I'm like, man, I would have thought this would have been cooler and sound better than what it does. But no, it was my camera that we were hearing. It was bad. So that's my theremin story. Lindy says, I've flown to the Gulf Coast of Florida from New Hampshire and found driving under Florida in a rental I found quite easy, well signed. I usually can't find a way out of a paper bag. I have faith in you. I'm going to have Siri to direct me every step of the way, so we should be all right. What time is stream on Friday? Original Sin. The court case begins at 8:30 in the morning and goes till about 12:30. It's about a 4-hour hearing. So I'm gonna be in the courthouse the moment they unlock the doors. So I'm gonna be like the dudes, like open. I'm gonna be waiting outside the doors at like 7 o'clock, just saying, just let me in. I've got to get plugged in. I've got to get set up. And right now I have to call because the call I got earlier today was the information I need to call to coordinate the room and the feed. And anyway, so that's all. Let's see. I wish I could hack Ari's phone and make me his Siri voice. You want me to give you directions? I've got an idea. I realize we're way off topic and we're talking about things that are not relevant, which sounds like something we should do for a podcast, which I still need to discuss.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Right. But I still have to talk with Thomas about what to do about the podcast. But where was I? I have an idea. Yes. Thank you, Judge Manning. I have an idea for an app that is a driving app, a directions app, but it's a sarcastic tool that neglects to tell you when to turn until after you missed it, and changes its mind and things like that. It will probably cause a million traffic accidents. It's legally it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare product, but I think it would be a funny product to make. All right. Florida has 4-minute stoplights. Be patient. I will wait. It's no problem. All right, let's on that note, let's go ahead and wrap things up. This is all it's going to be for today because we do have me getting ready for driving tomorrow. At some point tomorrow, I will be live, whether it's just from my phone along the way, whether it's early in the morning, whether it's when I arrive there. There will be some lives, but it will not be all during the day. So I need you guys to be, to your own devices, whatever it is. Find somebody good to hang out with, and say hi for me when you're there. Send a text to the burner phone. I will read all those in a minute. I've had quite a few of them just recently. Let's see. I think that's it. That's all. It's just safe travels other than that. Can someone post the YouTube channel the live will be on, please? Yes, that's going to be on my Top Mark Media channel. And if we can post that before we end here, that would be great. Let's see, is there anyone we need to raid today? Would you guys like to pop in on somebody else? Let's take a quick peek and see who's up right now. See, Brandy's got a closing arguments going on. The Kid Mel's up. Law Talk with Mike. Law Talk with Mike. Can we raid Law Talk with Mike briefly? You want to go to Brandy? Let's go to Brandy. I've not warned Mike. He might. Our audience might be too much for him. It's a lot. Okay, we'll go to Brandy instead. She's got closing arguments going on. Safe travels, everybody. I've redirected our portal. As soon as this ends, if you wait just a few seconds. Brandy will be up. There is the second channel right here, Top Mark Media. If you search for that, that's where it will be. I think that's it. You guys are a saucy bunch. You guys, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again sometime tomorrow. I'll also post the comments of this video and the link for the second channel. Thank you, Amber. Thank you. That would be great, so you can always see it in the comments for the video. All right, have a great day, you guys. You're wonderful. Thanks to the amazing mods. Thanks to all those who made this trip possible. Thank you. Your donations are directly going to gas, and to donuts, and to Mountain Dew. I think those three things will get me there, and the rental car. So thank you for funding this trip to make this possible, so everyone can enjoy the live stream on Friday. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye. I feel like I just hung up on the phone, too. Is that weird? There we go. See you guys.
Is that correct?
He's the guy.